Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Live!
Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. In particular, welcome to Rockin Robbie Live. I am your host for tonight's festivities. I am Rockin Robbie Bills. How is everybody doing? I hope you had a fantastic week. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you're having a wonderful, luscious Sunday. I know I am. It's been a really great weekend, but let's get caught up. We haven't done a show in over 2 weeks. I feel like we haven't seen each other in a while, y'all, and we need to chat or something like that, right? Though we have been active and busy with things like PCP Movie Night. We had the monthly comic book review last Thursday. I see Eric in the chat from 9 Panel Grid. It was his first appearance on that show, on that panel, and he killed it, slayed it, cut off the dragon's head, took it back to his kingdom proudly. So everybody go sub up 9 Panel Grid. If someone could please throw a link in the chat, that would be something I would be very grateful for. And right now, Eric, you're the only blue wrench I see, so it's up to you, Easy E. So let's do it. Anyway, it's been a great week here. Had some fun times this weekend. My Lakers, I wish that they would just end it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you lose the first 3 games to the Nugs, then you win game 4. Why? Just to extend out the anguish just a little bit. But my Yankees, they've been doing pretty freaking solid so far in the early part of this 2024 MLB season. I did get to watch my first full Yankees game today. While I was chilling at home reading, I had the Yankees. They were playing the Brewers. I'm kind of a Brewers fan because one of the baseball teams that used to play here, the Huntsville Stars, they were at one point a farm team for the Brewers, right? So every team that my team is like a farm team for, I always kind of get onto it just a little bit, right? But I got to watch the Yankees lay on a 7-run 6th inning today, coming off of already like in the last. So last night, I think they scored 19 runs. Today, they scored 15. I mean, I get it's the Brewers. I get it's 2024. I get it's early. But holy cow, it makes me very, very excited. Oh, yeah, figure drawing. It could be tied up right now, but I'll tell you what. It shouldn't. Because the Lakers have had substantial leads in all of those games, and they've shit them all away. Anyway, How's everybody doing? Welcome to the show. This is where we gather on Sunday nights and we talk comics, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more. We got a great show planned tonight. We'll be doing the DC sneak peek, a very light week for DC this week, so we will also be embellishing that with maybe some other things, including some free comic book day books that we'll be talking about, because this week we got free comic book day across the nation, across the world, I guess. Is the free comic book day is international, right? Surely, right? Let's just assume so. Free comic book day this Saturday. Also, the beginning of Robbie week. Saturday is the beginning of Robbie week. So y'all get excited. Get excited for Robbie week. I got the whole week's festivities all planned out. Some of them involve streaming here with you. Speaking of streaming shows that we just did last night for Dylan's birthday, we talked about Stephen King's It, the 1990 ABC miniseries, and that was a really fun revisit, and I was a little drunk last night, so I think it might be obvious if you know the clues to pay attention to. Anyway, today's been a great day, very chillax, getting some laundry done. I found out that I should not put my bath mat in the washer. I thought that I could. I shouldn't do that. It tore that shit to shreds. But anyway, so I need a new bath mat. So if anybody wants a Robbie Week offering, I do have an Amazon wish list. I've been posting it on our Facebook and all that kind of shit. So if you want to buy me something for my birthday, I can share that link. However, all the support we need is you being here, liking, sharing, subscribing, being a part of this conversation. I will say you can go over to popculturephilosophers.com to find our old podcasts, some old blogs. Not much new there. Also, links to merch and all that kind of stuff in the description below. You can follow us over at Facebook and on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group, where we are probably the most active there in the PCP Army. And on Instagram, you can follow me on Twitter or X at the Rockin Robbie, though I rarely use that anymore. And you can support the channel with a super chat, which those are always welcome. And this is your first or last chance on a Rockin Robbie Live to get support in for the May period. But anyway, also you can join patreon.com/PCP, where you can unlock exclusive features like a downloadable audio version of the weekly comic book review and the weekly pop culture wrap-up hours before they drop, as well as an upcoming movie watch-along. I got some VHSs I want to watch. I want to watch them with you, and in a couple of weeks, I haven't nailed down the date yet. We're going to nail down that date, and everybody at patreon.com/PCP at the $5 level and up, you're going to be able to watch along with me as I watch on VHS The Crow. So there you go. Coming up here on the channel, we got some fun stuff, including PCP Movie Night tomorrow night. Before we get into Crew's Choice to celebrate Robbie Week, we're going to do Kung Pao Enter the Fist. This is definitely one that has been really anticipated by a lot of people out there, as I can see from the interaction on our social media, but that's tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Central Time, and I'll be making another appearance on Dylan's Horror Show this Saturday. We're going to be talking about one of my personal favorite movies, Nightmare Sisters. That's right, we're kicking off Robbie Week the right way on Dylan's Horror Show with Nightmare Sisters. We now pause for station identification, y'all. All right, y'all, we're about to take a look at the chat, see what you guys want to chat about. So get in those topics of conversation, get in those questions, comments, and concerns, because even though we got a plan, grandiose, some may call it, this show is driven, fueled, if you will, by your questions, your thoughts, your comments, and your concerns. So get them in right now, and while you're doing that, it's time for your very own official First Five. All right, and for the first five, we've been going through the Joe Jusko Marvel Masterpieces Series 1. We're now on card 51. We're in the M's. It's time for Moon Knight. There's a great Joe Jusko Moon Knight right there, y'all. I had a line in a song I wrote once that was referencing Moon Knight. How'd it go? Like a something in the night? No, it's like a something with the light. Like a spark of light. I don't remember it. I thought it was clever, but it wasn't. Anyway, so there's Moon Knight right there. Next, we got card 52, Mole Man. Pretty dope underlighting right there. All the mole creatures, too. Moloids. One of my least favorite characters in all of Marveldom, actually, right here. Mojo. Whenever I'd watch the X-Men animated series as a kid, whenever it was a Mojo episode, I'd roll my eyes. That's why I don't typically like Longshot either. But I think an Art Adams Longshot miniseries revisit is warranted. This is probably one of the most badass cards in the set. Card number 54, Mephisto. Look at that. Gorgeous card. I remember that one vividly. And then here's a character that most people maybe don't remember now, but back in these days, in like 1991, I think is when this came out, Excalibur was a big draw. So there's Megan. She's from Excalibur. All of them had their first appearances on the back, which I always thought was super gnarly and cool. So one of the things we've been doing in the first and final fives here, as we go through this set, is each night I pick the best card in the first five, and the best card in the final five, and then the best card overall, and maybe by the end of it, we'll reveal what I think is the best card, but definitely for certain, the best card in the first five is that Mephisto, y'all. That is a dope-ass card, which warrants a reading of the back of the card. Mephisto. Real name, unrevealed. First appearance, Silver Surfer, Volume 1, Number 3, October 1968. Ruler of a fiery nether dimension, Mephisto lives to control the spirits of mortals he collects and imprisons. Many times his malevolent manipulations have brought him into direct conflict with some of the cosmos' greatest heroes, including the Silver Surfer and the mighty Thor. But he has always survived these encounters to continue his dark pursuits. Although this demon is not the biblical lord of evil, his nefarious actions and fiendish powers are worthy of the devil himself. Weird caveat there. By the way, this isn't the devil. Anyway, so that was your first five. All right, and I come right back in, and I see that we got a super chat from Larry Moore. Missed the last few weeks, but glad to be back in the circle of trust. Larry, thank you so much for the super chat. It goes a long way in helping support the channel. We really do appreciate it. This bud's for you. Let me tell you about this little man I know. His name is Hellboy. He was sent to the earth some long time ago to save or destroy. Brought to this earth by Rasputin, son of a demon, and I'm not a fool. Had a sex with a demon, but was raised by Professor Broom. And now he fights evil and monsters. Shit. Now he fights with a man who's a fish named Abe. Now he fights with a fire starter named Liz. And an ectoplasmic mess named Johann. PTRD. Thank you so much, Larry. We do appreciate the support. All super chats are welcome, and they all do directly help support the production of this quality program that you are watching right now. So let's take a look at the chat. Let's see what's going on, because as I said, even though we have a grandiose plan, some may call it, the show is driven, fueled, if you will, by your questions, your thoughts, your comments, and your concerns. We get the artist formerly known as Jesse Say What? Up in the house with a mighty hearty station. We got GT Key Comic in the house. Rogue Collecting saying rest in peace weekend. I hope you mean this weekend. The weekend didn't. Nothing happened to the weekend, right? You know, I'm a mom like a star boy. Nothing happened to the weekend. Now I'm kind of concerned. At first I was all on board. I was like, oh, he's saying, yeah, goodbye weekend. Now I'm like, well, we can't handle much more tragedy here, man. Come on. Let's calm down. Our Ari Aga's here. Station beautiful people of the internet. Hell yeah, the name changes with an hola. 9-panel grid. The aforementioned Easy Dick Eric is in the house already. James, what is up? Station this Sunday night. James is in the house. There's Larry, you sexy beast. Then we got figure drawing. Robbie, it could be tied up right now, yes. But it could also be over, but it's not. Lakers showed up yesterday. A sweep would have been no bueno. Yeah, 100%. I agree. Lakers will win the next game. Marketh my words. I hope so, figure drawing. And then they'll get us all back onto the, maybe we can pull this one out. And then we'll see what happens. You know what I'm saying? Name Changers is excited for Free Comic Book Day. Gonna get me some free comics. Yep. Big Herm, what is up, Big Herm? Station, my man. How you doing? Love you too, brother. Good to see you here. Where's J Strick? Let's go Knicks. That's right. The Knicks 3-1. They're up 3-1. Let's see what happens. Could this be the year for the New York Knicks? We may never know. Boris Vallejo is coming to my store for a signing, including cards, art books, and mags. That is fucking rad. Jealous. That's awesome. Nicodemus with Dancing in the Moonlight. Everybody. Hey, what's up, Hydra Asylum Comics? I believe that's Jay. Came in at the right time to catch the multi-award-winning Rockin Robbie Do the Hellboy song. Well, you got to thank Larry for that one. We got American Demon in the house. What is up, my man? That's my boy who's doing some fucking cool shit, making his own comic book, self-publishing it. Check it out, American Demon. The book is called Envy. That's my buddy, Austin. How are you doing? We partying this weekend? Do we have plans this weekend, or do you have plans? What's going on? I have no idea what's going on. Is there something going on this weekend? My birthday's this week. No, my birthday's not this weekend, but this weekend is the start of Robbie Week. We partying? What are we doing? We're partying on my birthday, I know. Twin Peaks, motherfucker. So anyway, Dynamite is in the house. How's everybody doing? So this last weekend was super fun. So Friday night, I had a bunch of people over. It was super fun. I love hosting social gatherings at my place. And not like big parties, right? Like I used to be like the guy who, me and my roommates, we'd always throw parties. We'd have keggers and shit like that, right? And I always loved doing that. Now, no, not for me. Don't want to throw a kegger or anything like that. Actually, not a bad idea. Can't do it here. But not a bad idea to have another kegger at some point with a bunch of like fucking 40-year-olds fucking trying to relive the glory days of their youth. You know what I'm saying? But we had some people over and we all collectively came together and we beat Mega Man 2. We all beat Mega Man 2 together. What I mean by that is that Brooks was the vehicle of everybody else's spiritual essence when we fueled that into Brooks so that Brooks could beat Mega Man 2. I think it took him like 4 to 5 hours. It seemed like it lasted most of the night, but we're drinking tequila, we're eating pizza, we're having good times, great conversation, everybody's having a great time. Meanwhile, we all get so transfixed with Brooks' journey through Mega Man 2. We all start holding hands and Care Bear staring our energy into this motherfucker. But we're also, me in particular, giving him very helpful advice. Like whenever he would do a boneheaded thing and like walk off the edge of a cliff and fall to his death, I would be like, hey, bro, let's not do that next time. So without my gracious advice, and without the power of all those collected, I don't think he would have done it. But there were some really great moments, y'all. There were moments where, like, the whole room would get so transfixed and mesmerized with what Brooks was doing. We were living and dying with each rough movement from Brooks until he finally beat that fucking game. There were moments where everybody would hold their breath and then go, oh! And it was so much fun. And Brooks fucking beat it. With, obviously, the spiritual help of me and the others present. American Demon was one of those. No, you weren't there. You left. You weren't there for the grand finale. He beat it, though. American Demon, he beat it. He did way better than I would have done. I have never made it through a fucking Mega Man game successfully. Ever. We're having another retro game night for the boys the day before my birthday, part of Robbie Week. I should definitely try to get some footage of that. You're making a dumb reference to Rebecca Black's Friday. I don't know about that one, brother. I'm sorry. But yes, your week will be party. Yeah, we're always partying. We're rocking. That's what we do. Why would you party when you could just be rocking? Nobody's let me know if the weekend's okay. Is the weekend okay? Eric says, Mega Man 2 wasn't easy. Some of those platforming sections were brutal. Yeah, seemed like it. Hydra Asylum says, if you need more Jelani and Brooks, go check out Go Figure Reviews. If somebody would please drop a link to Go Figure Reviews, as well as to 9-Panel Grid, which hasn't happened yet. Guardsy 97 or 99, what is up? Hey y'all, just read Batman and Dracula Red Rain today. Can't believe what I was missing so good. Yeah, that Kelly Jones artwork is what really causes that to excel, in my opinion. Really cool stuff, fun, Elseworlds, Batman's a vampire, all that kind of shit. That's part of that trilogy, right? Kelly Jones did that, right? Who was the writer? Was it Doug Mensch? Who was it? I haven't read that stuff in years. We got Kenneth in the house. What is up? Name changes says Mega Man X is the GOAT of the Mega Man games. Excuse me. Name changes says we used to do that with Super Mario Brothers for Nintendo. Yeah, I thought we would just maybe we'd eventually wind up on some Mario and everybody could get involved, but honestly, everybody else just chilled and had a great time while Brooks fucking went through the most stressful night of his life, making it from start to finish through Mega Man 2 in one sitting. We had to force this motherfucker kind of take a break for a moment, right? And go eat some damn pizza. An emulator. I don't have an original NES console, but I do have a console. I think it's called a Retcon or something like that. I don't remember what it's called exactly. But it plays cartridges for NES, SNES, and Sega Genesis. But I don't have Mega Man on... I don't have the carts for Mega Man. I would like them. The only carts I own, I have Super Mario 64 for my 64, and then I have just 2 NES games right now. I have Super Mario Brothers 3, and I have TMNT, the original TMNT. Brooks was playing some Manhattan Project, TMNT 3. Then we got him on Mega Man somehow. Taki is in the house station, man. Pop, pop, boom. How you doing, brother? Brooks is the GOAT. Brooks is great. Hey, we got Fable in the house. What's up, One Collection Down? How you doing, you sexy motherfucker? I don't know. Somebody said RIP The Weeknd, and then I thought it was just about The Weeknd. Now I'm worried. I'm just going to look it up myself. He's Canadian? I didn't know that. All right, he's fine. All right, The Weeknd's fine. The Weeknd's fine. What's up, Kid and Puke? How you doing? Road Collecting says, The Weeknd lives, but mine is done for. Makes sense. Hey, what's up, Damien? Sleepy Reader 666 with a stationary. I don't know if that's autocorrect or if you're being funny. Either way, it works. Hydra Asylum Comics says he canceled his Australia and New Zealand legs of his tour, but doing all right. You can breathe easy. All right, thank you. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. I do want to update everybody real quick on the Amorex bit. Amorex is the comic book that I'm working on with my buddy Kevin Stokes. The script is done. There are a couple revisions that I should have done a few days ago that I haven't yet. So I need to do a couple revisions. But aside from that, the script is good. Me and Kevin are on the same page. Kevin is in the midst of another project right now that popped up, like a paying project that's like, and we said if something pops up that's paying for Kevin, he's gonna jump in on that. But we seem to be the Ash Can. So we're working on an Ash Can to hopefully launch at Heroes Con. We're starting to hit really close to that. We're a little nervous about making that happen. However, the 12 pages of artwork are complete. The 12 pages of script are 98.9% complete. Like I said, just a couple little changes here and there. The book is in the process of being lettered, and hopefully we'll have it lettered and ready to go to the printers in time to have some Ash Cans for Heroes Con. If not, we'll at least have a digital version of it, but we want to be there with physical copies in hand. So that's where we're at right now. Super chats go to contribute that. Direct donations go to contribute that. You can direct donate at PayPal at contact420@gmail.com. Or you can just get in touch with me. Anything like that. Another thing that we do need right now. So Kevin and I want to start doing those streams that we mentioned where he starts drawing and we're chatting, right? He'll be here in the studio, but I need another camera and a microphone to make it cool, right? So Fable is graciously sending us a microphone, right? So the microphone is on the way, but we do need a webcam. I'm going to throw the PCP Studios Amazon wish list out there in the chat right now. If anybody feels so inclined, that would be a big help. Otherwise, super chats, donations, whatever. But just your eager anticipation for our project, Amorex, is more than we could ever hope for sure. In fact, I feel like y'all deserve a sneak peek. What do y'all think? You want a sneak peek of some Amorex art that y'all haven't seen yet? Let me get it geared up because I was not planning this, so let's just do it. Let's go. Which one to show? We've already seen the image of Amorex, so let's show you. That would be a shitty tease, Robbie. Oh, we don't want to show that one yet. Let's show you the first page. There it is. This is the first page of the Ash Can. Not the first page of the comic, though these pages are part of the first issue of the comic. But there's the first page of the Amorex Ash Can. Right there, y'all. Revealed to the public for the first time. So if you're ready, we could use your support. We could use your support. Anyway, I'll let you just gloriously view this for a second. Pretty dope, right? Pretty frickin' dope. I think so. You weren't attempting silliness, Damien. You were being silly, and I'm here for it. I love it. Taki says, somehow the best rapper alive is Canadian. The one from Compton moved to the back of a milk carton. What? Taki, I didn't get that. I'm sorry. 9-Panel Grid says, really looking forward to that Amorex. Looks so good. 9-Panel Grid says, I got a webcam I can send your way. All right, awesome. Fuck yeah, dude. That'd be great. Look at y'all. Deo says, me likey. Hell yeah, me too. Hydra Asylum says, day one backed when it drops, Robbie. Well, thank you so much, Jay. Damien, who's Damien's seen, I think Damien may have seen all the pages that's going to be in the ash can. I'm not sure, but Damien's enthusiasm means so much to me because I'm not trying to negatively talk about anybody else because I'm not. There are people that review comics, weekly comics, right? And I love them and I adore their videos. Chris from Lost in Comics, when Manny does reviews, I love those. Eric over at 9 Panel Grid, Nick, Comic Culture. There's a lot of people that do great jobs reviewing weekly comics. But Damien's the kind of reader that I fucking love. Like, if Damien was my customer at my shop, every time he was there, I would just be like asking him stories, like asking like, what was it like? What was this like when this happened? Well, do you remember this when this happened? Like, Damien is one of those dudes who's been into it for so long, like myself, but longer, right? That it's just a pleasure to hear his perspective from certain times. And I think Damien has incredibly awesome taste across the decades, right? Like, he knows his comics, and I really vibe with the kind of shit that he likes. So for him to say nice things about the book, Kevin's artwork in particular, because you know a little bit of the story, but I don't know how if you're gonna like the script. I hope you do. But that means a lot to me, Damien. So I really, really appreciate it. What genre would you classify it as? It's like, what genre is Masters of the Universe? So it's like a sci-fi fantasy superhero-y thing. That's what I would classify it as. A little fantasy, a little sci-fi, a little ancient aliens. Frankenfrog, today's your birthday? Well, station. Happy birthday, Frankenfrog. A fellow Taurus, I see. Anissa, what is up? How you doing? And yeah, initially, Damien, our idea, I think we may have told you this, but our initial idea was to have it be in color. And Kevin added in, we mentioned, he talked about, because he'd done this book called Extinction. And they relaunched it at some point, right? They redid it, and so he retweaked the art and remastered it, and he added in a bunch of toning. So he put the toning in, and we were just like, this has gotta be black and white. Kevin still kind of wants to have a color version eventually, but we're also just like, man, it looks pretty good black and white. One of the ideas we've been spinning around is when we do eventually crowdfund it, having a version that has like gold spot color and a version that has red spot color. Robbie, do you own any Shogun robots in your collection? My grail is a 77 Godzilla, and I'm seriously looking at dumping the cash on one really soon. No, I don't. I used to have a bunch of Power Ranger stuff, and even some Sentai stuff, like from Japan, but never really any of the old school Shonen stuff. I do have every issue of Shogun Warriors, though, from Marvel Comics. I've never read them, but I have them. Maybe I should dig out that first one and do a top-down on it. So, yeah. Yeah, spot color. See, spot color sounds really cool, and as a business decision, I'm like, then we can get people buying like 3 copies of this shit. Why not? I got 3 copies of Octobriana. Actually, I got 4 fucking copies of Octobriana from Jim Rugg. Because when I was like, man, the first time I met Jim Rugg was at Heroes Con 2019, maybe 2020. It's either 2019 or 2022. 2022 is when they came back. They were I didn't know who they were, Cartoons Kayfabe. I didn't know who they were in 2019. I don't know if they had done the channel yet. I had known Ed's work a little bit, but I didn't know any of Jim's stuff. Anyway, when I first met Jim Rugg, the first thing I wanted to do was get Octobriana, right? So I went there, I was like, do you got Octobriana? He goes, yeah, which one do you want? I was like, I want them all. I want all 3. He goes, well, okay, so he has like one that's done in like a retro 70s kind of color palette, right? On certain paper. And then he's got one that's on 80s newsprint that's black and white and like it's got screen tones and shit, right? So it's cool. And then there's the black light version of it, which is like kind of the main version, but there's the retro color, like 70s color, and then there's like the black and white 80s underground alternative comic kind of version of it. And then I bought one of his early tests that he did that's all like black and white, but it's on green paper. So I have that one as well. And I have the sketchbook. I love that book. Did anybody ever here read his Octobriana book? It is fucking amazing. The black light effect works so well. And I love that he didn't just go, well, let's do a version on regular color and then let's do a version in black and white. No, he retweaked things so that the black and white version felt like a black and white comic. He retweaked it on the 70s retro color one to make it feel like old school like that, right? And the black light, there's certain effects. Like there's this one bit where there's like this explosion. It has dramatically different effects in the black and white, in the color, and in the black light one. All different, all cool, all purposely designed for that experience. And it's one of my favorite things that he's ever done. It might be my favorite Jim Rugg book. Yeah, Frankenfrog, happy fucking birthday. Octobriana would be a sick top-down book to do, but there are quite a few pages that I couldn't make the cut for YouTube. Who gives a shit? Let's do it. Who cares? Only like 300 people are going to watch that video anyway. So I've been doing the top-down videos. It's been an interesting experience. I've gone from elated about them and the response to absolutely in despair and disappointed and feeling like I should give them up. It's been an interesting journey. Only 2 of them have really done what I wanted them to do. I think we got a third one though that's popping. My dumbass scheduled 2 videos for the same time today. I scheduled my Superman top down and of the first of the Triangle era, and I scheduled my Planetary #1 top down same fucking day, same fucking time. One was supposed to release on Tuesday. In fact, Planetary was supposed to release on Tuesday. Superman was supposed to release today. And I wake up because I slept in today. And I checked my YouTube and I was in, fuck. So, oh well, I fucked up the timing there. The Planetary one's doing well, though. The Jim Lee X-Men #1 was doing well. And the Ultimate Spider-Man #1 was doing well. I was very, very disappointed in the performance of the Ultimate Black Panther #1 because my fucking Ultimate Black Panther book, it fell apart while I was doing that. Like, I'm doing it. Like, watch the video. I'm doing it, and the fucking pages just start coming off. And I'm like, what the fuck? This is a $25 comic. Not anymore. And it's fine. That's what we do. But rereading Black Panther was a whole different experience than when I first read it. So I actually am glad that I did. So even if you didn't like Ultimate Black Panther, check out that video. But I'm also getting... So it's a weird position. It's a weird situation that's developed here. I have been wanting to do these top-down videos for a long time. Obviously, my big inspiration into doing them is Cartoonist Kayfabe. I love Cartoonist Kayfabe. I love that channel. I love the way Ed and Jim dissect this shit, right? I had been wanting to do this, right? So at the beginning of the year, when I set up this, like I wanted to do this whole studio upgrade, right? One of the things was an apparatus that would easily let me be able to do that without having to because I've tried doing things before and I have to get the tripod and whatever. This is just a simple little thing that I can just screw the camera on. It goes top down, and that's what I've been using. So at the beginning of the year, I put that on a wish list. It was sent to me by one of you wonderful people here in the PCP Army. So then I started doing them, and everybody was encouraging me to do them. They're like, oh, don't worry, you're not ripping off Cartoonist Kayfabe. You got your own thing to bring, this and that, right? And y'all convinced me. Y'all pumped me up. And I was like, let's do this shit. Let's do it. So we started doing them, and the first couple did all right, and then there were some that didn't do good, but, maybe a lot of people don't know what they are yet, right? And we're an established YouTube channel. People come here, they got a reason, right? There's a whole section of our subscribers that just come here for our movie reviews. There's a whole section of people that just come for the weekly comic book review. There are people that love the wrap-up. There are people that love this show that we're doing right now, the community that we're building. And that's to me the most important thing. But it does discourage me a little bit when I'm like, man, I wanted them to do better. But here's the thing. And that's the thing. I don't give a shit. I'm having fun doing them, and I'm getting better at them. In fact, y'all don't even know. I think the Ultimate Black Panther and the planetary ones are better than the ones that came before. Before, I was going too much into the story and trying to go along with it. This one now, I try to like step back and just kind of do an overall approach to it. But like, I don't know. I feel like they're better. I feel like they're getting better. I just did last week. I filmed all day, and I did all the number ones for the Heroes Reborn books. I did Fantastic Four by Jim Lee, Captain America by Rob Liefeld. I did the Will Portacio Iron Man, and I did the Jim Valentino Chappie Ape Rob Liefeld Avengers. And those were fun to do, and I want to do issue number 2s, and I may even do those soon. Ultimate Spider-Man number 2 is coming, because Ultimate Spider-Man number 1 did good. So I want them to do well, so I got to try to figure out which ones people want to see versus which ones I want to do. So I'm working on that balance. And one of the things that I'll do that kayfabe didn't really do all the time was like actually go through a run. So I want to do stuff like that. But I've been getting comments. Most of the comments are like, dude, this is awesome that you're doing this, right? When I started publishing these right before all the shit with Ed happened. And then once Ed passed, it like, you know, we had the discussion here about it on one of the last live streams, right? And everybody was very, very cool about it. But I have gotten some comments, you know, being like, I got one comment, I think today, like, yo, Ed's not even been dead for a month and you're trying to take his thing. No, not at all. Then right in that same video, somebody was like, I feel like this is you tributing, like a tribute to Ed. And I think that's fucking awesome. So it seems like most of the comments have been very positive. Most people that have watched him have really, really liked him. So I guess what I'm asking you is, do you like him? Have you watched him? What do you think? We're going to be showing one tonight because we are diving into Marvel in the 90s tonight. It's not one of the Heroes Reborn ones, though. I'll show one of the Heroes Reborn ones, though, maybe if we hit like a certain level of super chats or something. I can get that one going for us. But I guess the question is, what would you like to see from them? What books would you like me to do? Octobriana is a really good one, I think, to do. I think Octobriana is a good one to do. What would you like to see? What do you like about him? What do you not like about him? I don't know. Maybe something like that. Like, what do y'all think? What do y'all think? Let's take a look. Bum, 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 bum. Dynamite has a Shogun Warriors, but number 2 is ripped. Oh, that sucks. Damien says, now I feel bad for only having one version of Octobriana. I have them all. I think he said there were only 20 of his test copy. It's on green. So it's like black and white, but it's on green paper. And he was like, I think he said that he did 20 of them, and he's got some of those. If he's like, I got some of those. Because I was like, I want every version you've got. Taki says only 300. Well, you know, I'm just saying. I want a lot of people to see these videos so that more people understand and enjoy the art of discussing comics. Yeah, like old McFarlane toys. Man, what were we talking about when that comic came out? I wonder. The Marvel quality control is top notch. Oh yeah, like the fig. Yeah, it just fell apart. Those fucking McFarlane toys, right? There's a section McFarlane toys. Like I used to buy these Spawn figures. We'd open up here on the streams, and like half of them would fucking break. They would just break. My Malbolgia actually broke. My Redeemer fucking broke. Not Redeemer. Is it Vindicator? It's Redeemer. It's Redeemer. Whatever. Anti-Spawn was his first name. All those fuckers break. And yeah, that Black Panther book just fell apart in my fucking hands. It just like, I was like, oh shit. Maybe I should have said, like, I should have titled the video, "This Ultimate Black Panther, Marvel's paper quality sucks so bad, this book falls apart in my hands." That probably would have gotten really good, actually. I should have done that. Maybe I'll relaunch it. Taki, I love you, man. Hydra Asylum says, bro, almost gave up on shorts. Glad we didn't. Our Deadpool Wolverine teaser trailer got 7,000 views. We're an under 300 subs channel, so it's huge for us. Don't give up if you enjoy them. Well, thank you. Everything I do here, I enjoy. PCP Movie Night was never a successful show to us till all of a sudden we had a few of those shows pop the fuck off. And now they're literally our most successful shows. Some of them are. Damien says, I have added a watch of Top Down to watch later playlist. Loved what I've watched so far. Maybe just put them out more slowly. I've been doing only one a week. Because at the same time, I'm releasing... Well, I didn't mean to release fucking 2 today. Like, for sure. I did release one on Saturday because I didn't do the wrap-up and I wanted to have something there. I was going to release one, but typically they've just been doing... I've been doing them like once a week. Because I also have a bank. Like, right now, there's 6 that nobody's seen. And this week, I'll do more. I can do, like, 2 pretty easy. And then I want to have some guests. Like, me and Kevin have talked about it. Me and Brian have talked about, kind of like, me and Brooks have talked about maybe doing, like, you know, like, have them on sometimes to talk about something. I want to bring Brooks in to talk about Generation X #1 because he's never read it. And he's like the biggest YouTube fan, or biggest X fan you know, pretty much, right? I've always found focusing on a single issue is a hard sell. Gotcha. Probably be doing some trade paperbacks, too. Eric says, can't wait to dive into the planetary vid. American Demon, I have done that. I have looked at certain things. Jim Lee's obviously... I've found that Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld are actually draws. Hey, what's up, Hamburger Basket? How you doing? Yeah, Fantastic Four #5. That would be a fun one. Heard Batman Dark Age is really good. Yeah, I really like Batman Dark Age. Just an interesting take on an alternate origin for a Batman character. That's not like, usually it's just the same origin, but like slightly different, like in time and setting. But this one it's a very different approach, and it's Mike Allred and Laura Allred on the artwork, so it's amazing. Would love to see you cover Miracle Man by Alan Moore. I have like the first 5 to 8 issues. I don't remember the exact number. I have a bunch of those issues. I think is it 15? That would be the hard one to get. I do have the Marvel collection, but I would prefer to go through the Eclipse comics I got. Love seeing how you compare the different versions of the Barry Smith X-Men. Oh, word, yeah. Because at the same time, I've been trying to more aggressively put all of the Marvel in the 90s, Marvel in the 80s, DC in the 90s, Image in the 90s. I've been aggressively pulling those out of old live streams and popping them in. And it is giving some people the impression that there's a lot of content coming up, like I'm like doing it. It is, but a lot of it's shit that we did years ago here on this channel. Row Collecting's got one of those green copies. That's cool as shit, isn't it? Deo says, I second Batman Dark Age. Hamburger Basket says, classic X-Men books would make for great top-down videos. Yeah, one that I do plan on doing very, very soon is X-Men 150. I think Dave Cockrum did that one. I'm thinking about doing that one because I did X-Men #1 with Jim Lee, and they reference X-Men 150, where Magneto, like, kills, like, all those dudes in the sub, right? So I've been thinking about going back and revisiting that one. Last G says, I really liked your planetary video and I found your thoughts were enjoyable. It is not piss or rug level. No, not at all. Not at all. They have the perspective of comic artists, people that have been fucking doing it. I will never be as good as Cartoonist Kayfabe. It's definitely not my intention. Hey, what's up, Billy? Figure Drawing says, I can see the top-down videos gaining traction. I think you have to keep it going at least for a little while to see what's up. Yeah, definitely. Nothing happens overnight. Hamburger Basket says, Roxxon Thor issue had very thin paper. I didn't read that one. Last G says, but that was not the reason to do that? Wait, as I said, please continue. Oh, I got you. Okay. William says, I've been enjoying all of the top-down videos. I'm especially a fan of the Image comic reviews. Fun to look back. Yeah. Well, those most of those are just clips from Rockin Robbie Live when we used to do them. Don't worry, we're going all through. So the Wildcats ones are going to keep coming out. Wildcats number 2 will drop tomorrow. And these are things I did, 2 years ago, like on live streams. And then I'll get them out and then they'll be done. Because I don't know if we're doing that anymore. Maybe we should sometimes. It's a cool, fun format to do. What's up, Evil Face Bad? Frankie says, can't wait for the free comic book day Energon Universe. So excited. Ha, you should be, because it's fucking badass. It's so good. I'll be talking a little bit about free comic book day video books during the DC sneak peek, which we'll get to right after this quick break here on Rockin Robbie Live, y'all. When we get back, the DC sneak peek, we're going to continue our conversation. We're even going to go diving back into Marvel in the 90s. All right, we'll be right back here on Rockin Robbie Live.
I so hope this part doesn't go in the video where I'm just standing here staring forwards. That'd be so embarrassing.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Rockin Robbie Live here on Pop Culture Philosophers. I am your host tonight, Rockin Robbie. We've had a great time already talking about comics, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more. We're going to continue that conversation here in Act 2 of Rockin Robbie Live here on this fine Sunday night. I hope that you are doing well. We're doing great over here. You should follow Pop Culture Philosophers on Facebook and on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can also follow me on Twitter/X at the Rockin Robbie. Check out popculturephilosophers.com for merch links, for old podcasts, old blogs. Nothing new, all old, but all cool. If it's new to you, if you've never listened to our podcast, we did 49 episodes, hours of entertainment, mostly talking about movies, a little bit of comics spread throughout. But of course, that's what we do now here on the YouTubes instead. But anyway, thank you all so much for joining us. If you want to support the channel, super chats are welcome 100%. Also, Robbie Week is approaching us, so everybody get ready to celebrate Robbie Week, which officially kicks off Saturday night after Free Comic Book Day. When I get off, I'm coming home, I'm drinking tequila, and I'm joining Dylan over at Dylan's Horror Show to talk about one of my favorite movies, Nightmare Sisters. Exactly. One of the best movies for one of the kickoffs of one of the best weeks out there. But before that, tomorrow night, PCP Movie Night. Join us to talk about Kung Pao, Enter the Fist. Y'all, watch it tonight if you haven't already, and check it out. PCP Movie Night is our movie of the week club. We pick a movie, we all watch it, we all gather and talk about it. So Kung Pao, Enter the Fist, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Time, and then we're kicking off Robbie Week with Dylan's Horror Show, Nightmare Sisters, starring the illustrious Linnea Quigley. We now pause for station identification. All right, we really appreciate everybody being here. I see you, Bueller. We got comics with Bueller in the house. Live from Chicago, it's Bueller on a Sunday night. How you doing, buddy? Hope the train ride was great. Hope you've had a great time in the Windy City. Hope you have safe travels back home. Looks like you've been making the most out of it. You even saw my homie Tony. So there you go, bro. Let's take a look at the chat. By the way, also, patreon.com/PCP. We'll be doing a live watch-along to the VHS copy of The Crow within a couple of weeks. We got Chill Out Man in the house. What is up? We got Two Gun Pedro in the house. How you doing? Damien says, yeah, so I thought I was seeing 8 new top-down videos the past 2 weeks. Yeah, no. No, the other videos are just clips from Rockin Robbie. I've been meaning to get them out. And so I've just been kind of on it lately. Maybe I should slow those up. Wildcats number 2, though, tomorrow on Monday. Hey, what's up, Stu? Dr. Doom's Fan Club is here, co-host of Supreme Clientele. What is up, my man? How you doing? We got Manny in the house as well. Bruh, Manny joined me for 2 streams this last week. He was there on the Thursday night Best Comics of the Month stream, the award-winning stream, Best Comics of the Month. And he was on Dylan's Horror Show talking about it. William says, what is coming for the Pray the Horror Away film lineup? Pray the Horror Away? What do you mean, William? Do you mean the Horror Fest lineup? Oh, I got that Horror Fest lineup, but it ain't ready to be revealed yet. We got Crew's Choice coming, and then pretty soon we'll be revealing the Action Fest lineup. Then we'll get to Horror Fest. Yes, sir. Bueller, my birthday was not 6 months ago. My birthday's May 10th. The May lineup. The May lineup for PCP Movie Night, yeah, we've already revealed that. It's the beginning of Crew's Choice, but this year, we're still letting the crew choose a movie each week, but it has to be a Tom Cruise movie. So it's Crew's Choice, as in Tom Cruise Choice. Get it? We're kicking it off for Robbie Week with Days of Thunder. That's my pick. Then we're going into Brooks's pick, Risky Business. Then we're going into Joe Corallo's pick, Legend, the Director's Cut. And then after that will be Jelani's pick for his birthday week, which is going to be Tropic Thunder. So after Kung Pao, it's Days of Thunder. Yeah. Then it's Risky Business. Then it's Legend, the director's cut. And then it's Tropic Thunder. There you go. Bueller says, I've been with Robbie for his birthday. The entire town celebrates it. That's why we got Robbie Week, man. A whole week of festivities. We got Dylan's Horror Show. We got Rockin Robbie Live. We got PCP Movie Night. We got Taco Tuesday making comic book reviews. We got Wednesday night, which is not filled right now. And I'm thinking it might be a personal solo mystical journey. I think I may be psychonauting that night. And then Thursday night will be a retro game night over at my place with the homies. And then Friday night is my birthday. Friday night is Twin Peaks night. So that's what we do. It wasn't all Manny saw on DHS. You're right, chill out, man. Scarpad trying to show us the goods. What is your favorite hobby other than comic book related? Movies? Movie watching? Does that count? Talking about movies? Does that count? It's not my birthday yet. We're almost there. Robbie Week starts Saturday. My birthday will be the following Friday, May 10th. So we're not there yet, but thank you for the early happy birthday. I really do appreciate it. Cardstock variant. Do movies count? Movies. Outside of that, what do I love? I love watching baseball. What else do I love? Maybe hobbies. Like I collect toys. I like collecting toys. That's a hobby, I guess. Karaoke is a hobby. I'm a big karaoke fan, if you don't notice. So yeah. Horror movies in particular. I'm a big horror movie fan. Music. I do like music. I used to do music. I used to make music, but I don't anymore. But I like music too. Yeah, music's good. I like retro gaming. I like playing like Nintendo or watching my buddy play Mega Man 2 and beat it. And me pretending that it's me. What's up, Blood Splatter Chatter? Verna was in the house. William says, go Yankees, Knicks, and Rangers. Well, the Knicks are kind of doing it. Chill Out Man says, Robbie, stop trolling. You love us too. Yeah, I love y'all. This is great. This is more than a hobby, though. This is life. This is family. This is family, y'all. So what do y'all want to chat about? Let's get into it. Anything happened this week? Ooh, I feel like singing. Next super chat not only gets the Hellboy song, not only are you supporting the channel, but you get a karaoke song of your request, as long as I know it. How about that? Let's see what happens. But as we're waiting, it's time for your official look. Believe it or not, DC's got books out this week. All of April's comics are not released yet because DC is still doing that sneaky Tuesday release schedule, right? At least until July. So for right now, we got the DC sneak peek. It's a light one, but we'll also be talking about some free Comic Book Day books here on your official DC sneak peek. All right, we're going to kick it off with some of the books that are actually releasing this Tuesday. I only read 3 DC books. There's not any main DC books out there. There's a bunch of annuals. There's some specials, things like that. But we got the Nightwing annual. This is the secret history, origin, if you will, of, I cannot remember this character's name. B. Bennett, Pirate Queen. So she, I guess, was introduced during the Fabian Nicieza, Rick Grayson era. I didn't really read a lot of that. I tried reading it. I was even collecting it. I think I've since gotten rid of them all. But recently in Tom Taylor's Nightwing, she's come back as a prominent figure with this whole new like pirate past. And this kind of takes all of those threads from the Grayson book when he was an agent of Spiral, from the Rick Grayson stuff and the Tom Taylor stuff, and it threads it all together. This seems to be written and illustrated by Travis Moore. The art is fine. The art is really good. The story is very verbose. But it was a nice story. It was told very well, but it is a long read. There's a lot of text. It's basically her telling us her origin as we also see it act out and play out in real time. I think it was stronger in the beginning, then it got weaker as it went because it was kind of just tying into a bunch of stuff, but it was all right. It was decent. I think if you're liking the Nightwing stuff by Taylor, you'll like it, but it's not 100% essential. Then we've got the Flash Annual 2024. This coming right off of what Cy Spurrier's doing in Flash. This is like, if this is essential, if you're reading Cy Spurrier's Flash, which has been odd, crazy, weird, metaphysical, metatextual, timey-wimey, crazy Grant Morrison-y type shit that is very challenging. This annual is the same thing. I was fucking confused as shit. I'm loving it. But man, I am lost. I am lost. Have no fear. The first time I ever read through The Invisibles, I was kind of lost on a lot of shit too, right? That became one of my favorite books of all time. It is one of my favorite comics of all time. It's like scripture to me, right? The Flash is not going to be on that level, but it is very challenging. It is very dense. There's a lot going on here that's hard to kind of piece together. But I think it's going to be a rewarding challenge once it's done and I get to reread it. But I don't know what the hell's going on in Flash. I mean, I know certain things, all right? And then the best DC book I read that releases on Tuesday is the Superman House of Brainiac special. This is labeled Brainiac or House of Brainiac 2.5. And I noticed that Damian on his videos recently has been trying to jump back into Superman. And he's jumping into the House of Brainiac, which is cool because the House of Brainiac is actually way more tied into absolute power than most people will actually believe, right? But this is a 2.5, and Damian kind of like scoffed at that, and I get it, because I hate the point shit too. It is stupid. They should just call this part 3, but the thing is, it doesn't keep the main narrative thread going, but what it does is make a good comic, right? 3 stories in here, 2 by Josh Williamson, 1 by Mark Russell. The first story is basically Brainiac giving you his secret history with Zarnia or whatever, like where Lobo's from, that planet, those people. It introduces that concept, and it's interesting, and it was cool. Then the final story is by Josh Williamson as well, and it has a major revelation for if you've been following DC like for a while. Amanda Waller is talking to this like Council of Light, these like figures that we can't see who they are, and they're like giving her this power and helping her on this path to dominance, which is leading to absolute power. And there is a big, giant revelation in this issue about that ties so far directly in the House of Brainiac. I wish I could talk about it, but I don't want to spoil anything, but it's a pretty big revelation. Now, the middle story here is the best part, and it's a story by Mark Russell, and I want to say maybe Steve Pugh. Yeah, Steve Pugh. And it's Perry White is running for mayor of Metropolis. He's not a really great candidate, and is kind of following him. So Bibbo's involved as well. Perry White's candidacy for mayor, and it's actually a really nice, solid story. It's very little to do with House of Brainiac. I feel like they didn't think that they could sell that like Perry Olsen or Perry White for mayor one shot that they wanted to do, so they just kind of put it in here with 2 things that are kind of tied into the House of Brainiac and absolute power with a big reveal. But I liked it. I mean, I liked the art. I really did like that Mark Russell story. It was really good. It was really good. All right. So that's the DC books. Let's talk about some free comic book day books. I haven't read everything, but these are the ones I've read. These are the big ones. Absolute Power. This is kicking off DC's big new, their big crossover event, I guess, of the summer, which is Absolute Power. It's Amanda Waller making her big move over the last couple years. Since Dark Crisis, we've been seeing her consolidate certain powers and forces, and now she's making her move, and she is starting like a trinity of evil, right? Where you've got, that is Failsafe Batman, you've got the Brainiac Queen, which has not yet fully been revealed in House of Brainiac, and then you have Amanda Waller, right? And it's going to be Mark Waid and Dan Mora. So this story is by Mark Waid with artwork by Mikael Hanen. The artwork is solid, but it's better in some parts than it is in others. But this basically just gets you caught up. If you haven't been paying attention, this is who Amanda Waller is. This is what she's done. This is what we're building up to and how she's working with Failsafe. And the story is very short. And then the last half of this is all just who these people are, what the stories are. So if you haven't been reading all the Donna DC stuff, if you want to know what's going on, it encapsulates the Failsafe stuff. It encapsulates the House of Brainiac stuff, what Amanda's been doing, and it gives you a little timeline of the road that led us here, and what Amanda's actually done to consolidate that power. Then you get a really great splash right there by Dan Mora, and then a little bit of a tease into the very first issue of Absolute Power. It was solid. It was good. Didn't have a whole lot there, but it was still good. Then you've got the Marvel Blood Hunt, Free Comic Book Day, X-Men one-shot, and this was kind of a snooze fest, y'all, to be honest. So it's your first taste of Blood Hunt. Blood Hunt #1 will actually be out when this book drops on Free Comic Book Day on Saturday. So I haven't read Blood Hunt #1 yet. And so I just read this, and it's basically little snippets of all these different Marvel characters as this event happens. It's related to the Dark Force event. It's all right. It was decent, but it didn't really do anything to really get you excited, to be honest, right? Which I think it fails at doing. Like, this is your Free Comic Book Day. This is your big summer event. Like, this needs to hit, and it doesn't hit. Then it has your first preview to the new X-Men stuff. A Gail Simone, David Marquez story. Focused on Jubilee, kind of giving us a little bit of information about the new status quo for the X-Men. It does feel like they're going back into the 90s. And that's nice and that's cool. There's some neat setup there. The art was decent. It's a Jubilee story. It's okay. They do kind of upgrade her power a little bit. There's a little bit of art from that. But it didn't do anything like overly exciting, but it was decent. It was fine. And there's the Blood Hunt bit right there. So that one was all right. And then we've got another one from Marvel. Marvel also has like a Star Wars one yet. I haven't read that yet. Then their next big one, though, is the Spider-Man Ultimate Universe. It's got a Zeb Wells, Ryan Stegman Spider-Man story in there. I guess it's like Spider-Man versus the Chuck E. Cheese mascots and shit. You know, Five Nights at Freddy meets Spider-Man. It was silly. Didn't really do much for me. The Ryan Stegman artwork felt very sloppy and very rushed. In the back of this, there is a tease into Venom War. I think a lot of people will get excited about this and think it's the first appearance. That's going to be worth money. There's going to be so many of these, but you know, if you want to snatch an extra one, maybe grab it. You may hear about the reveal there if you haven't already. The middle story, though, is where it's at for me here. This one has the first Ultimate story that we're going to get from my homie Dennis Camp. Love his work. Maxwell's Demons, 20th Century Men, Agent of World. There is the Spider-Man story right there. This leads into issue 50 is what it feels like. The Ultimate story, though, was really cool. I really liked it. Felt very classic. There's a little tease from the Venom story right there. But I did enjoy the Ultimate story a lot, right? And I got to read that actually not too long ago. Dennis sent me a copy of it, and it rocked then, and it rocked now. Colors, not the greatest on this page, but, you know, it is what it is. But I liked that, and the Ultimate stuff is really fun. I think you're going to enjoy that. It had this, like, classic sense of awe and wonder that the Marvel Universe used to inspire in me when I was a kid, right? Especially when you start learning about some of these, say, like, Golden Age heroes, right? But you also start seeing, it starts feeling like, I don't want to say Planetary-esque, but it also starts, like, diving into, like, this secret history that was stopped by the maker, right? So they kind of see some of the relics of that. From Dynamite, we got Johnny Quest. This kicks off Johnny Quest. This is a really great sampler if you're into Dynamite, if you want to check out what Johnny Quest is going to be like. The art in Johnny Quest is amazing. It's Sebastian Perez. The art is really good. It felt like a very classic old school Johnny Quest story. It is written by Joe Casey, who is super cool. He was on this channel not too long ago. He actually broke the news that he was the writer of Johnny Quest. We got our very first ever exclusive reveal on Pop Culture Philosophers when Joe Casey came and told us he was doing this book, Johnny Quest, but it's really solid. Then there's a tease and preview of Thundercats #1, and then there is a tease and preview of a book that will already be on shelves when this drops. They don't really show you much of the good stuff, do they? Yeah, they really don't. Wow, what a crappy tease. Anyway, that's a Space Ghost. So you get a little bit of a preview of Space Ghost and Thundercats and an actual Johnny Quest #0. But by far, and I haven't read them all yet, but by far I would say this, by far, Damien, I think you'll really like the Mark Russell story in there. By far, this is what you need to be looking for. This is what you need to be getting at Free Comic Book Day this year. Make sure you get a copy. There's going to be a copy for sale, like a different copy with different covers the very next week. But you can get it for free now. Man, oh man, this is the Energon Universe 2024 special. It has 3 stories in it. It's got a Transformer story, a Void Rival story, and a G.I. Joe story. The Transformer story is illustrated by Ryan Ottley, really bringing in that Daniel Warren Johnson energy. It's freaking awesome. It tells you where Megatron was, what happened to him, where he's been, where he is now, and what's set up to come. And it's pretty badass. Then you have a Void Rival story that has a Transformer appear that I was not expecting to see for a long time, and I am not going to spoil that for you. Then you've got a G.I. Joe story by Josh Williamson and Jason Howard that sets up some stuff to come with a big reveal that I already knew about. But anyway, that book is freaking awesome. I'll show you. I want to show you one more. I'll show you the first page. Well, hold on. I'll show you the third page of that Ryan Ottley. So you get Megatron versus Optimus, how Megatron got separated from the rest of the Decepticons and the Autobots. When he wakes up in Cobra Law, what happens and where he's at now and what his mission is. And man, all 3 of those perfectly setting up stuff. Fantastic. Also, can't wait for Free Comic Book Day. I'll be looking for the Mike Mignola stuff. Yeah, we got Mike Mignola aplenty. Plus, he does have a Hellboy Free Comic Book Day out this week, but I haven't grabbed it yet. So, but yeah, American Demon. All right, but here's a book that I read that I wanted to go ahead and get on your radar because this book is really good and was very, very surprising to me. This is from Oni Press, releasing this week. Toxic Summer #1. Written and illustrated by Derek Charm. This is about these 2 dudes who get the crazy idea that they're going to go to this beach that one of them went to when he was a kid, and there were a bunch of hot dudes there partying all the time. It was like a spring break, summer vacation kind of fiesta, right? And they want to go there and like scope out hot dudes and party and shit like that, right? So they wind up getting lifeguard jobs, but when they go there, it's actually filled. There was a chemical spill and the beach is closed and they have to clean up all the toxic shit. So it's got this cool like beach party movie vibe, right? It's got one of those like teen beach party movie vibes along with the horror vibe as well, like which is a common thread. Great characters, great personality, and the artwork is so amazing, including the coloring. So this is like a cheesy B-movie horror beach party thing. Toxic sludge, mutations, wonderful coloring, great realized characters, intriguing concept. This book was really, really freaking good. And right now it's shaping up to be a pretty solid bet that it might be the pick of the week. I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right. Anyway, that has been your DC and More sneak peek. All right, take a look at the comments, see what's going on. Frank Miller Presents is gone already. Well, Dan DiDio left. Some developments, by the way, for Frank Miller Presents. Dan DiDio left. They said that there's more projects on the way, but they have partnered up with Abrams Books to release the new Ronin book in 2 separate editions. One is like a hardcover that's landscape, which is apparently the way Frank Miller wanted it to be presented. I think that's going to be gorgeous, especially coming from Abrams Books. The other one is in a traditional manga format, which I think is interesting and cool. So I'm really excited for those collections, and I think they're going to be cool. And then they're doing a Pandora. So yeah, allegedly there's still more stuff to come. We still have, Sin City with him and Milo Manara, like is supposed to be coming, and his prequel to Sin City, like 1858 or some shit like that. So I think that's the way to go. Partner with Abrams Books, put out amazing high quality graphic novels. Like, do that, right? Like, they were not working as single issues. The sales were very weak in my shop. Ronin book 2 had the best sales, and they've actually retitled it for the collections as Ronin Rising. But I did like Ronin book 2, but I need to go back and reread it. A new hardcover edition will be the exact reason why. Or a perfect excuse to. Chill Out Man says, Verno, can't wait till the next horror trivia. Well, guess what, bruh? I'm going to be on that next horror trivia, so I'm ready for these schlubs to come at me. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that. If you tell me it's worth reading House of Brainiac 2.5, then I'm all on it. You will like the Mark Russell story, I think. I did. If you don't, then I'm sorry. Hey, what's up, Bobby? How you doing? Bobby says, there's some good free comic books coming out. I like that, Mad. Yeah, I haven't been able to dive into that one yet. Taki says, my guess is Snake Eyes is really Dick Grayson. Oh, shit. He's Rick Grayson, actually. Chill Out Man says, all free comics are good. I wouldn't agree with that one, to be honest with you. Tom says, The Flash reminds me of dropping out of calculus in high school. No clue what was happening. Hell yeah. Good fun times. All right, let me get those books out of the way. I did read Bear Pirate Viking Queen. It was really good. The artwork was amazing in that one, but like it was really hard to kind of like when I came out of it, it's like I was like that book was a little unclear in certain elements. But I did really like it. It's a new one from Sean Lewis, and I can't remember the artist's name right now. It comes out this week. It's really good. Toxic Summer, though, works. I really like that book. I was mesmerized by the coloring. And it has like an energy with these characters that I really like. But the coloring really works for me. And yeah, it is a queer book. So if that's not your bag, then be warned. But I fucking loved it. Had a lot of fun with that one. Do. All right, y'all. We're about to go back. How far back in time? To the 90s. It's time for Marvel in the 90s. Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and today we're going to be taking a look at Thor #1 from 1998 by John Romita Jr., Klaus Janson, and Dan Jurgens. That's right, everybody. Thanks for checking out the video. I am Rockin Robbie Billups, and today we're going to be taking a look inside the mighty Thor #1, also known aka as Thor Volume 2. This came out in 1998, and this was actually the very first Thor #1. See, Thor debuted in a series that had already been in existence, Journey into Mystery, which eventually got retitled as Thor. And then Heroes Reborn happened, right? So this is, as you can see, branded with Heroes Return. So what that is a reference to is the initiative after Heroes Reborn. Heroes Reborn was when Marvel hired Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld to come in and revitalize and reboot Fantastic Four, the Avengers, Captain America, and Iron Man. They were selling very low at the time. They brought in those big guns from Image to try to revitalize some sales on some books that had definitely languished in sales for years and years and years since their last kind of epic of days, right? Now, part of that was the Onslaught story where they killed those characters off, quote unquote, and placed them in a pocket reality where they had their own adventures and stuff like that, right? And then they did Return. That Heroes Reborn stuff went throughout 96 and 97, and then at the tail end of 97, beginning of 98, they relaunched them back into the Marvel Universe. And about 6 months after that, that's when Thor #1 comes out. So I think this came out in May of 98, which would have been as I was not graduating, but it would have been at the end of my junior year of high school. But I loved this book when it came out. I was never really a big fan of Thor. I mean, I liked Thor. I saw Thor in the earliest comics I read. Thor was Eric Masterson's, right? So he had the helmet on and all that stuff. And I did read some Thunderstrike comics when I was a kid, because all of us kids back in 1993 or whenever that was, that's what we read. But I never read like proper Thor. Now, right before this was the launch of the Kurt Busiek, George Perez Avengers run, which I was a huge fan of at this time. In fact, when I say stuff like 90s comics are better than people make it out to be, I'm not always necessarily talking about the Image stuff, though sometimes I am. I'm usually talking about the Vertigo stuff, but sometimes I'm talking about stuff like this. A time when, like, Marvel's post-bankruptcy now, they don't have much money. The only people who are really in the industry are people who have been doing it so long, that's all they know, or people who are truly passionate about this industry. Dan Jurgens coming over to Marvel, that was a little bit of a get for Marvel at this time, placing John Romita Jr., who had been doing work on Spider-Man and other titles like that, placing him on Thor. Will he be able to do it? Will he be able to deliver the Kirbyisms? We knew him from X-Men and Iron Man and Punisher and things like that. Could he do Thor? What was this book going to be? The man who kills Superman. What's he going to do with Thor? Well, spoilers, he kills him. All right, so let's crack this open. But first of all, a really great gatefold cover right there with liquid coloring. I've been talking about them. This like plasticky, toy-looking, shiny, bright coloring. I loved this at the time. It's really obnoxious now, and it doesn't quite work on Romita's lines. But, you know, there you go. Now, another reason... Now, at the time, I loved this because I was just getting into the story. I was getting into a Thor comic that I thought was built strong. It was based in mythology, so I thought that was interesting. I remember in my senior year of high school, I brought some of my Thor comics from this run to my Myth and Legend course to show them off. And as you can see, not to weird stretch, but mine is signed by John Romita Jr. and Klaus Janson. I love this team together. In fact, the reason why I'm pulling this out is because I just did that Batman video with Klaus Janson inking on Gene Colan, and I needed a palette cleanser. I did not like this. I did not like that, so I wanted to get into something that I do like. Marvel at this time was doing this nifty like gatefold kind of previously on and introducing the characters, running them down in a previously on, like this is Thor, this is his cast, this is what just happened in the book, and they're referencing Heroes Reborn right there. Those are the Heroes Reborn costumes. Now, when Thor has returned, Asgard is in shambles and all the other gods are gone. This is from the George Perez, Kurt Busiek run, and then this is actually from this issue. So Thor now is alone. He doesn't know where the other gods are. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't know what's going on. In fact, he actually showed up later than the rest of the heroes because him and Doom wound up lost in the multiverse. That story is told in an annual in this run coming up at some point. So we cut to New York City. One of the things I do not like about this era of comics is the computer lettering being used instead of like hand-drawn lettering for like signage and stuff. It sticks out. John Romita Jr., Klaus Janson, I love Klaus Janson on John Romita Jr. We know that John Romita Jr. draws these big blocky figures. Klaus Janson uses these really fine lines that just seem dashed out and the big chunky things that just like, it's perfect for Romita and it works so well. It usually has texture. It has grit. This is by the numbers. There is a hostage situation at a daycare. This dude's got a bunch of hostages. He wants to talk to Thor and only Thor. And then you get a big 90s-esque page, which they didn't even do much at Marvel these days, but what a big page. That's how you introduce your hero in his very first #1 issue of all time. There you go. So we got Comicraft, RS and Richard Stark in Comicraft's David Lafier on the lettering, and it's serviceable. It's exactly what it typically is of the time. Gregory Wright on the colors. Some computer coloring, doing some molding on the figures and stuff that just, I don't know, it doesn't quite work. I love these big, giant arms that Thor has. I think this is one of Romita's best Marvel works, is his Thor run. I love Klaus Janson's inking on it. Now, when I met John Romita Jr., he said that, and so Thor shows up because he's called for, and this dude is saying that he is one of the gods, and Thor hasn't seen any of his fellow gods since he's returned, so he's intrigued by the mystery. Those giant freaking arms, I love it. This is so like rooted in the early 90s. It's like Romita Jr. kind of took his style and adapted it to what was necessary, right? But also still maintaining a little bit of a classic sense. There's a lot of Kirby vibe in this book, which is very appropriate because this was one of Kirby's favorite Marvel works that he did. But John Romita Jr. told me that Dan Jurgens gave them a very loose plot and said, just do whatever, have fun. Like, this happens, and this is where we're going to end, and then do whatever you want, like, however you want to tell it. Now, we're introduced to this new guy. He's a paramedic, Jake Olsen. He will be important to this story, at least for a little bit. So Thor shows up, and he's going to have a conversation with this dude. There's the guy. Almost looks like Alan Moore holding up these kids. Really great sense of movement, and just the strategy here is he throws his hammer up. The hammer drops down into the daycare, separating the hostages from the crazy dude who thinks he's a god. He claims he's Heimdall, and Thor's talking to him. He doesn't believe him. Jake Olsen's talking to this police detective. He's like, oh, looks like Thor's buying a story. Thor's like, I've seen crazier things, so let's check out this dude's story. So he whisks him away. Meanwhile, and great artwork, like here's some of that texture that we're seeing, a little bit of splatter, probably toothbrush splatter or something that Klaus Janson's doing. It's a really interesting, cool way to do the whisking away and the spinning of the hammer. I just love it. It's so effortless. You got these thin lines and just like, it's almost like infuriating. Like, it's like Klaus Janson's just going dash, 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 and conk, 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 conk. And it's like, is it that easy to just build these figures? Conk, 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 conk. And if you look at the original pencils, now there is a version of this. It's like called the rough cut, where it's the pencils and the script, or the plot, I guess I should say, and it works so well. Love the days of these, editorial balloons, these little footnotes, right? Thor has this kind of different, like, I guess they're trying to go like for a godly medieval kind of font for him. In the first few issues of the George Perez, Kurt Busiek Avengers run, they really overdo it, and it's really obnoxious. Here, they kind of iron it out just a little bit. So while Thor is whisking this dude away, we get introduced to this military operation. They're moving something in a big crate or a big container. There's this colonel there who everybody says is basically a prick. He's kind of, he's a prick. He's a jealous prick, and he comes up and he's like, what's in the box? I don't even know. And he touches it. They're like, the general told us not to touch it. He's like, I can do whatever I want. He touches it. It blows up. What happens? Well, we'll find out. A Skittles Racing Team game. Anybody ever played that? Is that good? You let me know. All right, so now outside of the hostage situation, Jake Olsen, some more stuff outside. We're establishing this dude for a reason, establishing this relationship he has. He's dating someone named Hannah. It's his fiance. He's always having to miss out on dates and spending time with her because he's a paramedic. And he's like, there's something going on downtown or something like that. And he doesn't want to go, but then they get called in. But they're building up his story and his life. Then we cut to Hell, right? Meeting Hela. This was Such an awesome image right here. Absolutely fantastic. The way that Romita is playing the Kirby up here, still doing his own thing, but that's how you introduce people. That's why Romita Jr. is so good at what he does. He's efficiently telling the story across the pages. You get the sense of Thor's movement, of things moving like that. Like the hammer coming back. Klaus Janson is expertly inking this and adapting exactly what he needs from Romita's pencils, and the way he can introduce a character, a scene, it absolutely works. It's top notch. So then we cut to Thor, and he has taken this dude who thinks he might be Heimdall to Asgard. What a great spread right there. Just beautiful. Klaus doing all of the tricks of the trade with the white media, the Kirby dots, the energy, all that stuff. There's even screen tone in there, some of the rare usage of screen tone in this comic. But it's there, and it adds a really cool effect throughout this cosmic background, the rubble. John Romita Jr. does not get credit enough for stuff like this, and you can tell that Klaus is kind of doing his thing in there too, very thin lines, but man, it freaking works. The way that Rainbow Bridge, Bifrost is coming out, the perspective there. The coloring is a little too, this is computer coloring, is trying to mold it. It's not egregious or anything like that, but Gregory Wright's a really good colorist, so maybe at this time he just didn't quite know what the levels were going to be and what he needed to put to have this kind of be. It feels like this should be brighter. It feels like it should be brighter, but it's not. It's fine. It's okay. The choices are there for this page. Eventually, later on, it does kind of get murky. Now, you hear people like Jim Rugg, for instance, and I would agree, a lot of comics from this era kind of blend into a murky, orangey brown, and you see it happening on this page. I mean, at least here they're breaking it up, like color, monochromatic, color, monochromatic. At least they're doing that. Thor gets mad. He finds out after he takes this dude there. This dude gets overwhelmed. He's just a dude. He ain't Heimdall. Thor feels tricked. He's angry. Throws his hammer around. It comes back. He feels alone. A really great moment there in the script. Dan Jurgens is doing a good job of introducing us to Thor, to Asgard, and to the current plight of Thor, right? There's that double page splash from the beginning, recolored by liquid coloring right there. They see how much they really overdo all that. But we get a little bit of a flashback to young Thor and young Sif and Loki. We build that relationship. If you're a new reader, these are things you need to know, things that can be set up. He then talks about Odin, Balder, Sif, the Warriors 3, and more about Loki. And he's lamenting that the gods are gone and he doesn't know where they are. And this dude's like, man, I'm sorry, dude. I'm just all fucked up, basically. So he takes him. He's like, I know a safe haven. Some more of that great, just screen tone with a little white media on there. Those Kirby dots, which Mariano Nicieza tells me a lot of people would use an eraser head that from a pencil they would dip in ink and just make those dots. So that's pretty interesting. But Romita Jr., when I met him and I had him sign this, he had nothing but positive things to say about this run. He absolutely loved it. By the way, Thor's tirade here has unlocked some ancient prison, and now some kind of evil entity is free. We'll find out more about that. We got Jake Olsen going to the site of the Avengers, fighting some kind of a robot thing. He's on the phone with Hannah. She's a single mom. He's trying to get engaged to her, but he's never there, never making time. But it's hard for her to justify being upset because he saves lives. But Romita told me he had so much fun doing this because of the freedom, right? Thor comes back with the dude, takes him to the hospital, to Jane Foster, the first time they see each other for a while. Look at those just thick lines outlining her. I love that it feels slightly rough, just slightly rough. The coloring, the molding, it's a little rough, the coloring sometimes. They're trying too hard. They got new tools. They don't quite know how it's going to work yet. So I can be forgiving of that. They use a lot of gradients in the background. That's fine. I can be forgiving of that. At the time, I didn't notice it. I wasn't as much, I guess, of a color snob as I am now. But Thor finds out that the Avengers are fighting some kind of robot out by the docks or something like that. So they rush out. Destruction. Once again, Romita and Klaus, they don't get enough credit for these scenes. You know, there's a lot of detail there. So yeah, you do have no background for a couple of these panels, but it's balanced at least. Nowadays, you see way too much empty space sometimes. this is how they did it back in the day. Jack Kirby did it like this. There are plenty of Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko panels where there's no background, right? So the Avengers are there. I like Iron Man by John Romita Jr., but this is not the Iron Man costume to go, that late 90s. That's like the one that Sean Shin did. Like, Sean Shin knew how to do it. George Perez knew how to do it. John Romita Jr., it's a little okay. It's just okay. But I just love the effortlessness, it seems. These thick-ass, chunky-ass lines. But we find out what was in the crate. It was the Destroyer. What a bombastic page right there. That page is really, really cool. A little bit more brighter color probably would have helped it pop a little bit more. The Avengers jump into action. Pretty good shot of the Avengers doing that. Big ass, just chunky, chisel-y type line around Cap. I just love it. Cap has his old school shield here because his shield had been lost in the sea at this time. So I like those little touches. Eventually it becomes an energy shield. Then here's where some of the color choices, like, I kind of don't understand. Maybe I do, but this all of a sudden goes into this like magenta, purpley magenta thing. The Avengers are still there, but they're in color. And so but then they take that color palette there, and it all kind of merges together. It's like yellow and brown and yellow, but it just kind of, and orange. It just kind of merges together. But there's Jake Olsen and his partner. They're doing their thing. The Avengers are doing their thing against the Destroyer, but it's no use. Lots of big, bombastic type action here. This is an exercise issue as well. Nobody's able to have any effect on this. Look at that sense of movement right there. I know that's America's ass, by the way. But you feel the power of the fist slamming on that shield. You feel the athleticism of Captain America there shielding his compatriots in the Avengers. And another great big splash here. Big and 90s and boisterous. You got Thor coming in, smacking ass on the Destroyer. Just took the best shot of a god. There is a personality in the Destroyer. It is that Colonel who touched the crate. He somehow got his essence filled into the Destroyer. So that's what's going on there. And then Thor is just letting it all out, but it seems to not quite be enough. So that's kind of scary to the rest of the Avengers. And Jake Olsen's right there. There's a woman trapped under a car. Thor gets up, and then you get these like panels where almost 2/3, about 2/3 of the page is devoted to Thor, a third of the page to Jake Olsen. Thor goes up, starts calling upon the thunder. Really great, powerful Kirby-esque shot right here. Here Jake is trying to lift this car off of this victim by himself. Great, I love it. I love the work so much. Now it seems like, what's Klaus doing here? Now he's using his brush. And the way he's doing that is so cool. And in the coloring, leaving some of that almost all white really does work. So that's cool. But Thor's calling on the storm to unleash the full fury of his power to the Destroyer. Because this dude is just not a good dude. And he shouldn't have the power of the Destroyer. And it's already tough for Thor. The Avengers, nobody can hang with it. Olsen, there's gas leaking towards him. He lifts the car, tries to get the woman free. Thor's unleashing the fury of the storm. The gas catches on fire. This is nicely paced. Thor's blowing the shit out of the Destroyer as Jake's getting the shit blown out of him. It's a weird tangent right there. He saves the woman, but it seems like he's gotten a lot of shrapnel in the back. And by the way, when they introduced Hela earlier, they mentioned that the one she's always been seeking is coming to her very, very soon. All of that, and the Destroyer's still there, and this jackass Colonel says, a couple of warehouses caved in, few cars blew away, and a couple of dock ships were swamped. Me? I'm not moving. Scoom, you are. The digital lettering for the effects of it doesn't feel like it's actually part of the artwork, but it works. It's fine. It's good. Can't be too picky on it. But he blasts the shit out of Thor right there and comes in and just starts smashing on him. Just starts beating the hell out of Thor. And then there it is. You've all seen the movie. You know what happens when that visor comes off. He just blasts the shit out of Thor. And as the Avengers watch, a god dies. Boom. They see the aftermath. And I remember looking at this as a kid. Like, I was a teenager and I was like, did he just melt his arms or something? And just those, like, those brush strokes, like the just showing the form, showing the shape. Wow, I loved it. And so the big kerfluffle, the big thing everybody was saying back then was the man who killed Superman comes in and kills Thor, his very first issue. And he does, but there's a story. Jake is dead. Thor is dead. Their story continues. It was all set up in here with Hel and the missing Asgardians, and we'll find out. But I remember reading this and just being like, holy crap. Like, we see Thor, and we understand how powerful he is. At least I had the understanding from Avengers comics, right? And I love in Hell, all the demons or tortured souls there. So it's all set up. Great artwork. I love Klaus on Romita Jr. Now, I do think the work is better on Punisher. And if I ever get the chance to meet them again, I would get a Punisher Warzone #1 signed. I had that with me at the time, but they did a Fantastic Four cover, and I felt like I had to get that one. But I definitely wanted to get this one signed because it had a lot of meaning to me personally. This comic, it's kind of a rough time in my life, honestly, in my junior year of high school. I had a young brother who had just passed away and some aunts and a cousin, and it was a big family tragedy, right? But like I remember this era of comics so well because these were the comics I was reading that would like help me escape, you know? And so I still hold a special place in my heart to these, and I don't know. I love this era of comics. I love this run on Thor. I love this first comic. And you know what? If you're game, I'm game. I think the first 12 issues of this run are really solid. The only nitpick I had here was the coloring and some of the digital lettering as far as the sound effects go, but it still held up. It was paced well. It introduces Thor, the concepts of everything. I mean, it's a decent first issue. I enjoyed it. If you remember this book, what did you think about it? What do you recollect? And check it out for sure, man. Dan Jurgens had a really long run on Thor that was actually pretty solid, and even got more hype as it progressed. Eventually, I think Andy Kubert comes on, but this was a pretty solid run. I really do like it. I think this Hero's Return is a good era for Marvel. It's got me thinking about reading some Heroes Reborn, though. I don't know. First of all, do you want to see Thor #2 by Jurgens, Romita, and Klaus? Or do you want to see some Heroes Reborn? And do you want to see other Heroes Return? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for checking out the video. I've been Rockin Robbie Billups. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And join us over at popculturephilosophers.com for podcasts, blogs, and a whole lot more. I've been Rockin Robbie Billups. Like I've already said, keep on reading. Station. Marvel in the 90s. All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed that sneak peek at an upcoming top-down video for tonight's segment of Marvel in the 90s. We're about to take a quick break. When we come back, a little bit of show and tell. If you'd like to see a sneak peek at a Heroes Reborn, I need to see a super chat. Any level. Let's have some fun, y'all. We'll be right back here. And Corey, I see you. It's so cool. Corey, Station. It's good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Let's hang soon, man. Let's all party. We'll be right back here on Rockin' Robbie Live. recording.
We're recording.
Hey, gang. Welcome to... Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Rockin Robbie Live here on Pop Culture Philosophers. I am your host, Rockin Robbie Billups. We have been having some internet issues, apparently, over the last 20 minutes, so I'm sorry if that keeps happening. Hopefully on the replay, it will all be fine. However, we've been having a great time already talking about Marvel Comics from the 90s. We did a DC sneak peek, a little bit of a free comic book day sneak peek, and then we even just chatted and bullshitted for a while. That's what we do here. We talk about comics, movies, pop culture, and a whole lot more. Join us over on Facebook and on Instagram. Follow Pop Culture Philosophers. Join the PCP Army. That's the official Pop Culture Philosophers Facebook group. You can find podcasts and more at popculturephilosophers.com. You can follow me on Twitter/X at @TheRockinRobbie. And you can support the channel over at patreon.com/PCP, like these fine PCP patrons right there. Or with a super chat, which I see that we had one just come in. Let me double check what this was. Hold on. Aww. I don't see Spillio here, but he just sent me a message telling me he loved me, and that meant a lot to me. So that was great. Anyway, thank you all so much for being here. We're about to get into some show and tell, but coming up here on the stream, or on the channel, I should say, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Central Time, we've got Kung Pao Enter the Fist for PCP Movie Night and kick off Robbie Week with me over at Dylan's Horror Show Saturday night as we talk about one of my favorite movies, Nightmare Sisters. Y'all, I'm so freaking excited. I've been begging Dylan to do this movie for a long, long time. All right, we got a super chat from Kelvin. Kelvin says, "Hey, Robbie, you should review Fantastic Four 243 Galactus versus all of the Marvel superheroes next." That's a great one. FF 243. John Byrne. Goodness right there. That's a great one. That's your third super chat, Kelvin. We really do appreciate it. This one goes out to you. Do this shit. right, y'all. I said next super chat we get, I'll give you a sneak peek at one of the Heroes Reborn videos. First answer gets it. Fantastic Four, Captain America, Iron Man, or Avengers. Which one you want to see? What's up, Sledhead? Y'all let me know. First response I see, which is going to be delayed by 30 seconds to a minute maybe. Fantastic Four, Iron Man, Captain America, Avengers. Iron Man from Mad Respect, I see. William second with the Avengers. Sledhead with Fantastic Four. All right, we're doing Iron Man, y'all. Let me get it set up. This is going to be obnoxious for a second, if you're even seeing it. Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups, and today we're going to be taking a look at Thor #1 from 19... Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. All right, now we got it set up. Internet's still being shitty. Sorry about that. But let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can make this work. Let's see if this can happen. It's time for another Marvel in the 90s. Hey everybody, welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm Rockin Robbie Billups. We're continuing our look at the debut of Heroes Reborn with Iron Man #1 from Jim Lee, Will Spertasio, and Scott Lobdell. That's right, everybody. Thanks for checking out the video. We've been going through these Heroes Reborn #1s, right? We've already done Fantastic Four by Jim Lee, Captain America by Rob Liefeld. Now we're getting to the second Jim Lee book that was co-plotted by Jim Lee, as well as Scott Lobdell, but the art is done by Will Spertasio. It's Iron Man #1. Now, this was the second highest selling of the Heroes Reborn debuts. It seemed like a lot of people were more hype for the Jim Lee books, a little bit less for the Rob Liefelds, but honestly, Iron Man, Avengers, and Captain America, all their numbers are very similar, right around 275,000 copies, over 300,000 for Fantastic Four. So that was the one that everybody was really, really focused on, was Jim Lee drawing the Fantastic Four. But Iron Man had a really big, huge bump as well. Heroes Reborn sold phenomenal for these first issues. We'll see what happens as it goes on. But this is Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee getting complete control over some of the core Marvel characters in 1996. They started the Onslaught event. It shunted some of these characters off into a pocket parallel dimension, and they got to reboot and revitalize these franchises, or that was the hope, right? This whole thing lasted for just a year, but it set the tone for what would become like Ultimate Marvel, and even maybe some of the MCU, right? But let's dive into this Iron Man #1. Will Spertasio, really cool cover. I remember being blown away by this cover when all this stuff was announced and all these images started coming out. The first image I ever saw of the Iron Man was Jim Lee, and I remember this because I remember flipping through it and being kind of disappointed that it wasn't Jim Lee, right? Because I was a huge Jim Lee head, but I wasn't necessarily quite a fan of Will Spertasio. I know that he was on Uncanny X-Men, but there was something about, I don't know, I always felt like his stuff was a little wonky. His eyes, his faces, it just didn't quite work for me, but now I do see a certain charm in his style, having gone through this again as more than an adult. But the first time I ever saw this Heroes Reborn design for Iron Man, I loved it. It was like one of my favorite things ever. I loved how the musculature of the armor had these, like, I don't know, it almost looked like tubes, right? Like, it's like the muscles, but it's also like tubes and stuff. I liked how complex it looked. Right now, nowadays, I really enjoy a simpler Iron Man costume, but back in the day, there was something about this that was really cool to me. I loved it. But let's dive in and let's see what's going on the inside. And I'll be honest with you, so far on my revisit, this is the weakest one. Definitely by far, right? It's a little clunky, right? But let's talk about it. So it starts off, there's somebody in a prototype Iron Man suit. His name is Rebel. We find out that he's one of Tony's best friends. And this is like a flashback to a test of this armor. And the armor blows up and kills this dude. And I guess it sends Tony Stark onto a path of being kind of an asshole, right? Lots of blank space here on the page. This is a very odd choice to like leave this completely blank. Maybe they thought the credits would go there, but they left all that. So I don't know. It's some weird, interesting things with the composition here. It's not necessarily my favorite. You see a lot of these kind of compositions from someone like Kenneth Rockefort, as far as like a modern artist. I haven't seen him on anything in a while. So anyway, he gets blown up. Tony's there. We see our first appearance of Tony, and I don't know, like there was, even rereading it, there's something off to me about some of the art, but I do appreciate it a little bit more than I typically have. And then we get into today, right? And what's going on is that Tony Stark has just been found not guilty of insider trading and all that. I don't know, lots of crazy stuff going on, corporate espionage, insider trading. And he's being found not guilty. He's acquitted, and it's causing all of these like protests outside of all these different Stark businesses. And then you even have some of his own workers who are ganging up on him. But then one of these workers is revealed to be a Hydra agent. This is a really cool spread. You see a lot. Now that I think about it, Kenneth Rockefort has a lot of inspiration from Will Spertasio with his composition. Lots of negative space, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It gives the pages room to breathe. The problem is it's unclear storytelling sometimes, and the dialogue and the script is not helping it for certain. But I love this image, and this immediately tells you this is not your father's Iron Man comic book. We're getting into some corporate espionage. We're getting into some 90s action movie tropes, and we're getting into some really cool stuff like this. This is an absolutely great panel right there. Then we get introduced to Bruce Banner. He's like everybody here, they're a little bit younger. Bruce Banner's kind of got the Pearl Jam Bush 90s kind of haircut that I thought was so cool back in the 90s. Thought it was neat, but he works for Stark. There is Stark, and he is now and more acting like a dick, right? He's calling the people ants. He's saying that he tolerates them. They hate me, but I tolerate them. And the truth is, we couldn't do it without each other. Happy Hogan's introduced. He's his publicist. He's like, you're making my job very hard. Then we get introduced to Liz Ross, head of security at Stark International. I think this is kind of a take on Betty Ross. I don't know why it's Liz. I don't know what's going on with the character, but what is that with this outfit? I guess it's meant to be sexy. I mean, the whole thing is that these are Marvel by way of Image Comics. This is not just Jim Lee coming in working for Marvel with Will Spertasio. This is Jim Lee's Wildstorm Studios completely doing this book, right? So lots of Wildstorm isms, if you will, and Tony's just being a complete jackass. Everybody's saying so. Bruce is a little mousy. He's about to go and address all of these people. And during here, you get what I do like about this Iron Man run is this concept that Tony, Bruce, Reed Richards, Victor Von Doom, and this dude Rebel, they were all part of this alliance when they were young and idealistic, and it was called the Atomic Knights of the Round Table. And I really like this aspect that there's a history that already connects these people, Bruce Banner and Tony Stark, and with Reed and Victor for the Fantastic Four, kind of putting the Jim Lee Heroes Reborn books together, Iron Man and Fantastic Four. We're introduced to Doc Samson. Leonard Samson is a psychiatrist. Here he is Tony's psychiatrist who helped him kind of get through this trial. There's this other dude here. I can't remember his name. It starts Jasper. He's, I don't know, I guess he works for Tony too. They'll explain it here. Lots of empty space. And I know the Rob Liefeld one had empty space, but those were balanced, kinetic kind of pages. These are a little bit boring. It's a lot of people just talking. Pepper Potts comes up. She's talking some shit to Tony. I mean, it's really what's going on. Just a lot of talking, and it's kind of boring. We're a few pages in, and nothing super exciting has happened. It's Lieutenant Commander Jasper Sitwell. And then she says, Tony, you're acting like a jerk. Throws some wine in his face. And it's like, come dawn, their lives will be changed forever. The dialogue is incredibly clunky. Now, I know that Scott Lobdell doesn't always have maybe the best reputation as being the best writer, but he's a very prolific writer at the time. This is a script job, I'm sure he came up with this, I don't know, it says story by Jim Lee and Scott Lobdell, but I'm pretty sure he just kind of skipped I don't know. Maybe he helped write the plot. I don't know. Maybe him and Jim had a conversation. I don't really know the ins and outs there. But this is pretty boring. And what a weird way. You've already introduced all of these characters and giving us all this relevant information. And then you go through a rundown of who our characters are. It's almost like they knew this book was going to be confusing. And it rather is. Meanwhile, Hydra is now taking over the Buffalo Annex of Stark International. They're after something that's there, something that's in the Gamma Chamber. Well, we know Bruce Banner's involved, so we kind of have an idea. There's Madam Hydra right there. The art's okay. The art's decent. Like, I like it more now than I typically did. But it's not really doing a good job of telling the story. It's not really, the dialogue is not helping that at all. And, I mean, it's all right, but compared to the Jim Lee Fantastic Four and the Rob Liefeld Captain America, it's just not quite on that level. So Liz finds out that there's some stuff going down at this Stark Annex, and Bruce is going along with her because he's like, it's my project, so I'm going with you. Pepper comes to, like, kind of apologize to Tony, and then Tony's like, I came out here, Pepper, so there wouldn't be any misunderstanding between us. I wanted to make sure you realize you're fired. So he is a complete dick cheese. He is just 100% an asshole. Absolutely. And so then Doc Samson shows up. He's probably had a few. He's telling, hey, you're pushing everybody away. You can't be doing this. He's like, but someday you're going to have to answer for why you started taking things apart instead of putting things back together. And the basic premise is ever since that rebel dude died, who was like Tony's best friend, died in a project for Tony, he's kind of gone down this path. This is a really cool page. I love this figure of Tony right there. He's like, am I a man who's on the top of the world or on the edge, right? Am I simply a man on the edge? So I really like that page. And then we get back to Liz and Banner approaching this Stark Annex. She knows something's up, immediately starts firing. She's like, yo, there's something up because they're not doing procedure correctly. I believe that the base has been compromised. And so in the name of Hydra, this big firefight starts coming. And Betty is telling Bruce to call for backup because after they've blown these people away, Madam Hydra's still alive. Bruce called for backup. I can't. She gets knocked out. Then we cut back to Tony having a conversation with Lieutenant Commander Jasper. And it's just more about, like, Stark is sad. Stark is a dick. He's lonely, this and that. And it's so weird. He's like, dude, don't worry. I'll take care. I'll go investigate what's going on at the Annex. You got a party to get back to. Then we cut back to the Annex, to the Gamma Chamber, where Madam Hydra's talking to Bruce. Bruce is actually part of this. He has betrayed Stark. He regrets having built the Gamma Bomb. That's what's going on there. He regrets building it. He wants to dismantle it. They told him they're going to dismantle it, but of course they lied. They actually are there to detonate the bomb. And of course Bruce Banner is very, very surprised. Lots of empty negative space here. And like, at least like in the Rob Liefeld stuff, they tried to do something like maybe gradient color or something in the background, but they're just leaving a lot of white blank space here. And like I said, it does make the book, which Portasio has a little bit of clutter in his art. Like his machinery, right? His like this copter right here looks awesome. Like everything looks cool and it fits like the vibe of like mid-90s cool extreme comics. So I guess the blank backgrounds, just the white backgrounds really do help kind of break that up a little bit. But anyway, Liz wakes up. The Gamma Chamber is sealed. They got Bruce in there. She's trying to get in. Tony is on his way to investigate what's going on. Bruce is going to sacrifice himself so that this bomb doesn't blow up. He feels like this is what he's got to do. And he's like, there's only one chance. So they send it all the way down 13 miles to the core of the Earth, which we actually haven't gotten that far, but I guess in the Heroes Reborn Marvel Universe we had. So he shunts the Gamma Chamber down 13 miles to the core of the Earth to shield the Earth from the explosion. The explosion goes off. Liz is watching it. Jasper and Tony are on their way. They see a crater. They notice that the crater was created from within. There's a strange green glow. Speaking on the coloring, just like the ones before. It's like worse in the beginning and it gets better towards the end. I think there's some better color choices here with the purples and that blue. The green leaking out of this crater looks really cool. I think the coloring's all right. I mean, it's just what we expect from this time, from this era, but I do believe that it's colored better than the Fantastic Four one, but that might be because of all the white backgrounds, to be honest. So Tony and Jasper, they're investigating what's up. They see a big hulking type figure, and that is, to me, the money shot of this book is the Hulk. I freaking love Will Spertasio's Hulk. The deep blacks, the spotting of blacks, the big exaggerated figure, not going super Del Keown with it, but still taking some of that and doing his own thing with it. Giant ass fingernails. Look at those things. But I like it. So they see the Hulk. He's like, get away from me. Light will not leave. Light will be smashed. Really cool Hulk. I love this. And I love the idea of a long-haired Hulk too. I thought that was neat. Really great image here as the copter comes down. Tony and Jasper. Jasper's he's a goner. And Tony has now been hit with shrapnel, right? So it's that typical origin of Tony getting shrapnel near his heart. And so he goes, and this base where this gamma bomb is also happens to be the place where Rebel died in the prototype armor. So he winds up going to his past and finding the Prometheus project, Prometheus Rising. That's the armor. And he's going to put it on because it's also a mobile life support unit. And that's what's going to save him. So, you know, it's that same idea of the armor saving him, saving his heart. And then Hulk is fascinated with Liz now, wants to protect her. I don't know who the hell this dude is. Is he one of the Hydra dudes that survived? It's very much unclear. And then you got Tony showing up as Iron Man and promising a big Iron Man Hulk fight in the next issue. This issue is clunky. It's okay. It's got some highlights for the art. That Hulk page in particular right there is absolutely stunning to me still. The reveal of the Hydra agent towards the beginning, I remember that was part of the preview pages they would show in like Wizard and all that kind of stuff. So there's some decent artwork here. There's some cool redesigns. And there's interesting elements that are, you know, for this new iteration of Iron Man, but it's kind of boring throughout. The dialogue is very clunky. It's hard to make sense out of what's really going on. I mean, it's clear to know what's going on, but there's a lot of unnecessary stuff, including words and even some images. It's not a very exciting comic. I found Captain America to be very exciting. Fantastic Four started getting a little bit more exciting towards the end. That's a really cool Tony face right there. Like, some pages soar, some color choices are good. I think it's some better coloring than the Fantastic Four. But I don't think the story comes together as a cohesive whole very well. And honestly, it feels more like a Hulk story than it does a Tony Stark story. Because Tony Stark is a completely unlikable jackass in here. And the one dude you do maybe like is Bruce Banner, and he's a traitor. But Liz Ross is actually, I think, the standout character here. She's pretty awesome. But the book itself, it's just all right. So far, it's been the weakest, but we still got another one to go. That's going to be Avengers, right? So the book sold very well. The art's okay. Wills, I think, did the first 6 issues. I don't remember who comes in after that, but I want to keep going through the Heroes Reborn stuff. If you want to see it, let me know in the comments down below. But thank you so much for checking out the video. Let me know in the comments any of your recollections about Heroes Reborn, about this Iron Man run, your thoughts on Will Spertasio as an artist, and what about his work here. Now, Rob Liefeld, who his podcast or observations, his Heroes Reborn episodes, which I recently listened to for the first time, is a big inspiration as to why I'm doing this. He said he thought this was the best artwork that they were doing. He thought that this was some of the best artwork that they had seen from Will Spertasio and during the Heroes Reborn stuff. I would kind of disagree with that, but we'll see what happens. It's an okay book. It sets up some interesting stuff, but it does it in a clunky way. Art's cool. It's actually, honestly, as I'm flipping through it, talking about it, it's kind of warming up on me just a little bit. So I don't know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And join us over at patreon.com/PCP if you want to help support the channel. I've been Rockin Robbie Billups. Thanks for rocking with us. Keep on reading, y'all. Station. All right, y'all. Time for some show and tell. I hope you enjoyed that sneak peek at the look at all of the Heroes Reborn #1 issues coming soon here on Pop Culture Philosophers. All right. So recently, 2 weeks ago, we had the Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo. I should have talked more about that tonight. Maybe we'll talk about it maybe next week on Rockin Robbie Live, right? But, like, it was fantastic. Like, I got to do the panel with Rachel Lee Cook. That was amazing. She hasn't aged a day. She is a sweetheart. She is gorgeous. She is everything I wanted her to be and more. So she was great. I got to do the panel with Joe Rubenstein and James O'Barr, and that was a super, super fun panel. So go check out the PCP Army. You'll see links to those panels if you want to check them out. But, you know, I just got a very tiny haul at the expo this year, but I did get 3 really cool pickups here. I did get Marvel Comics Presents #2, which I needed to get and should have had. No, Rubenstein didn't do that. That was Klaus Janson. No, that's the whole joke. But anyway, one of the first, I think the very first top-down video that I released over a month ago now was Marvel Comics Presents #1, and I promised that I wanted to go through more. So now I got the second issue so we can go through it. And what's really cool is when I was doing that panel with James O'Barr, he mentioned Tom Sutton as being one of his favorite artists and a big influence on him. And he's the dude who did this Man-Thing story in here, which has had really cool artwork. That stuff right there. Anyway, it was super cool doing those panels. But so I went to a comic vendor. I had time. I went and I just was like looking around. I was like, you know, I don't have much money, but let me see what I can get for $20, right? So I wound up getting this because I needed that. But then the dude was like, what are you looking for? I was like, well, I don't know. I like weird shit. And he's like, this is our weird box. And here's our weirder magazines. So I picked up this issue of Buried Treasure #2. This is Buried Treasure #2. And what it is it's a bunch of like old school like strips and shit from people like, we got Harlan Ellison, Frank Frazetta, Joe Simon, Jack Kirby, Alex Toth. Like, really cool. I wanted to check that out. I'm always down for any Alex Toth I can find, any Kirby. So we'll probably top down all these things I picked up from the expo. All right, the last thing I found there, though, that I was really excited about was Testosterone Guy, or Testosterone City, Peter Bagg. This is early Pete Bagg. I did pay $10 for that. Well, he gave me a little bit of a deal. So I don't know when this came out. I guess we can look inside and see, but this probably would have been something that he would have made like self-published for like, it's 1994. Handmade comics published by Starhead Comics. So I'm pretty sure it's handmade. Like, but it's Pete Bagg doing Pete Bagg stuff. I'm a big fan of Pete Bagg. Pretty soon I plan on doing some top downs on some Hate. There's a new Hate Revisited coming out this year. Very excited for that. But I thought this was super, super cool to get. If I ever have the luxury of meeting Pete Bagg, I'll get him to sign it. Plus my slip cases of Hate and Neat Stuff. And he did a Spider-Man book called the Megalomaniacal Spider-Man. That was awesome. All right. I told you that Rachel Lee Cook was awesome. I did the panel with her. And then I went and met her. Excuse me. At her table. And she was a sweetheart. So I got her to sign this for me. It's the only autograph I got that week. She said, "You nailed the panel. Thank you, Rockin Robbie, Rachel Lee Cook." So there you go. How cool is that? So that's what I got from the expo. But I've recently gotten some gifts, AOKs, if you want to call them that. But my buddy Kevin Stokes hooked me up with this. Agony by Mark Bayer. He said that he went to a con one time and he got this. Somebody gave it to him for free. And he's like, this looks like the kind of shit that you would like. Kevin's, by the way, the artist on Amorex, our book together. He goes, this looked like your kind of shit, so I'll just give it to you. And it does look like my kind of shit. So I haven't read it yet. But there's a quote in the back from Daniel Clowes. Holy shit, I just noticed that. Mark Bayers are some of my favorite comics of all time, and surely the most perfect realized vision of urban despair ever to hit the comic page. A must for any fan of bleakness and misery. But it looked really cool to me, and Kevin knows me, and he knows the kind of comics I like. Kevin doesn't like comics like this, but he knows that I do. So, thank you so much, Kevin. I got a nice package from Two Gun Pedro that we're going to show off. A couple of Blu-rays in there. First up, Strip Nude For Your Killer. I already knew, but Two Gun left me a little post-it note on these, which I'm going to keep with the movies. Let me put it in there, which will cover up that because you can't see that. But Two Gun Pedro said, coming soon to Dylan's Horror Show from the director that brought us Burial Ground. Yep, I've been wanting to check that one out, so we're checking it out. And then a note from Two Gun Pedro, my recommendation for March Madness next year. Sent me a copy of Mother, Darren Aronofsky. I've never watched this. I hear things. I want to check it out. So thank you so much, Two Gun Pedro. And he also sent me the absolute best VHS haul that I've ever had. Thanks to Two Gun Pedro. Y'all, all of these are bangers, and they just keep getting better to the ultimate. Okay? So here we go. Two Gun Pedro sent me some VHSs. Y'all know I collect VHSs. If you got VHSs you want to get off of your hands, you can send them to me. But this is the absolute best VHS haul I've ever gotten. We're going to kick it off with The Outsiders. Great cast. Great fucking movie. Great to have on VHS. The Outsiders. Here's one we've been threatening to do on this channel for a long time. Time Cop. Time Cop on VHS, y'all. Fucking Jean-Claude Van Damme. One of my favorite movies. In fact, I think the very first March Madness we ever did, this was the first movie that I picked. This to me is one of the most underappreciated movies out there. The Cell. Embossed VHS, yo. That's a great fucking movie. And if you don't believe me, watch my PCP movie night on it, which I think was the very first March Madness episode. Could be wrong. Could be off by a year. One of Bueller's favorite movies. One of the greatest films ever made. Roadhouse. And the way it's meant to be watched. On VHS. With a lot of beer. Cheap beer. Get some Miller High Life. Get a bunch of bros over. And watch fucking Roadhouse. I tell you, they just keep getting better. How about one of Tim Burton's best films? Edward Scissorhands. I love this movie. 10th anniversary edition. Did that make you feel old in like 2003? Jesus. 2002? When was this? Y'all, I can't see shit so good up close with my glasses anymore. I gotta be like, and I need plenty of light. We're getting old. I'll be 43 in a couple weeks. Robbie Week's coming. 1990. All right, so this is like from 2000, which makes sense. I think 2003 is really late for VHS, but look at that. Edward Scissorhands. All right, y'all. The two best VHSs I've ever gotten. That haul's amazing. How about this? How about a lenticular VHS copy of Spawn, the HBO miniseries, the animated HBO series with the lenticular cover with 3 fucking images on it? How fucking cool is that? Right? Look at that, y'all. That is glorious. Glorious VHS. That's like top-notch VHS right there. But here it is, y'all. I can't tell you how many times I rented this VHS from the video store. I can't tell you how many times I would watch it late at night on my own. I remember I was lucky in my early middle school age, 6th, 7th grade, to have my own VCR in my own room. Can't tell you how important this VHS is to me. Two Gun has reunited me with it. This is Madonna, Truth or Dare. Yo. The only other VHS I'm as intimate with is Embrace of the Vampire, which I would really love to get that one back. But there we go. Truth or Dare, Madonna on VHS. So let's recap that VHS haul. Madonna, Truth or Dare. Spawn, HBO miniseries, Lenticular. Edward Scissorhands. Roadhouse. Patrick Swayze. Genius. The Cell, one of the greatest films that nobody ever talks about. Time Cop, the next Van Damme film we'll review here. And The Outsiders, which should have been picked for Crew's Choice. And actually, Brooks was over the other night when he beat Mega Man 2. And I was showing him those VHSs. He goes, oh man, I love The Outsiders. I was like, dude, you should have picked that for Crew's Choice. He goes, Tom Cruise in that movie? And I was like, yes. Yes. Two Gun. Well, I have the Spawn movie. That's the animated fucking series. That's the HBO animated series. I don't have that on DVD, Blu-ray, or anywhere. Now I have that. And I don't know. I think it's just like the first season, maybe. I don't know. But that's the animated one, not the live action. So that was great. And dude, you put Madonna in as a fucking joke, Two Gun? Joke's on you, bruh. I'm probably going to beat off to that very soon. That was funny. That was a joke. But was it? Probably not. We'll see what happens. You ever have like nostalgia for bait material? Anybody? All right. We're going off the rails. Okay. That's the show. Thank you all so much. We really do appreciate you being here. Do not forget, tomorrow night, PCP movie night. Kung Pao, Enter the Fist. Robbie Week kicks off Saturday night. Robbie Week kicks off Saturday night over at Dylan's Horror Show with Nightmare Sisters. One of my favorite movies and some of my favorite bait material. All right. Once we start talking about bait material, we are dipping out. Love y'all. Have a good one. Yeah, Spawn was for 3 seasons. It's not beating off. It's a prostate cleanse. The Cell is dope. I fucking love that movie. Jay, watch our PCP movie night that we did. I want to say it was the inaugural March Madness one. I do want to say that. All right, y'all. When masturbation has lost its fun, you're fucking breaking. We'll see you guys. Have a good one. Station next week, Rockin Robbie Live. We got a string of them coming. So be here every Sunday night, 7 p.m. Central motherfucking time. Y'all have a good one. Love you. All right, we can't end yet. We haven't done your Final 5. All right, we're going through these Joe Jusko Marvel Masterpieces cards. Here we are with card number 56, Namorita. New Warriors was a thing at this time, so there you go. Following her up, it makes sense. It's Namor. Look how jacked he is. I dropped the rest of the cards. Hold on. That Namor card is fucking dope, actually. All right, next up. They stick together. We have Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister was never my favorite Marvel character or X-Men villain, but like that's a dope-ass card. One of my favorite characters in the history of comics. How about Mr. Fantastic? Fuck yeah. An exciting card? No. But I love it. Here's an exciting card. Morbius. There you go. Card number 59. All right. Best of this batch, I'll be honest. It's Mr. fucking Creatine and fucking Protein. It's Namor right there. But Namor does not compare to that Mephisto. So the card of the night belongs to Mephisto. That's one of the best of the sets. But that Namor is pretty fucking dope too. Both have their seductive qualities. All right, that has been your official Final Five. Two Gun says, I believe The Cell was the very first March Madness movie on PCP. Fuck yeah. Sounds right. Sounds right to me. I do believe that is the case. I do believe. 2021 is when that would have been. Man. I remember that very vividly because one of the loves of my life, Jamie, I had just met her recently and we were talking like within the first few days of us like chatting and talking and shit. I was like, yeah, I got a show tonight. I'm talking about The Cell. And she's like, I love The Cell. And I was like, she's the one. She's the one. So it's a very important movie, man. I showed it to her on Friday and she got a kick out of it. All right. Now that we've done the Final Five, we can say, station everybody. Catch you next time. All right, we've come back for two reasons. Take a shot and open an action figure. To take a shot, station y'all. There's to a great return. Part 2, open an action figure. We're going to open up this Transformers Legacy Evolution G2, what's his name? Cloud cover. I love Seekers. I love Transformers. I love Coneheads. I love G2. We're going to open this bad boy up. I will buy any. So, you know me, like mostly I cut out Power Ranger toy collecting. I've been selling all my collection. I have very few pieces left. Very few pieces left. But I do still love vintage toys. And I love collecting vintage Superpowers, Secret Wars, 90s Toy Biz, Marvel, and DC figures, as well as Turtles, vintage Motu. But modern toys, I like NECA horror figures, but I really love these new Hasbro Transformers. And they're getting way too pricey. And I'm getting less of them. But the cool thing is I can be more selective. But I will buy any Seeker that I see. So there's Cloud cover right there. Really gnarly 1990s color. Let's get him out of here. Let's free this action figure. So they use like a hardier cord now. Not the twisty ties or the plastic. It's actually kind of harder to fucking cut through. Jesus. Why do they do it that way? Really? Are you serious? What the hell? It's also probably very dull. Ow! That fucking hurt. Okay. Are we going to be able to get this guy out? I don't fucking know. Let's see. We're going to get him out of here. That's what we're doing. We'll get him out of here old school if we need to. We're just going to rip him the fuck out. Oh, get it the fuck out of here. Watch Robbie struggle to open a toy. Oh my god. That is hard to cut like that. I just gave myself like a cardboard cut too. Jesus. Man, they don't make this one easy. Jesus. We're doing it, y'all. Just have patience. All you need is just some patience. Get the fuck out of here. What is all of this? Can we not just remove the figure from his package, please? They don't make it easy. No, I don't think I drew blood, but it stings a little, Jay. It stings. Man, these things, they're like goddamn fucking corded thread or some shit now. Like, what is this? Is this fucking biblical times? Like, is this ancient history? Why do we got goddamn fucking rope tying these motherfuckers in? The fuck is this? Jesus. Do you remember when you could just, like, rip open the blister packaging and the figure would fall out? Those were the days. Jesus Christ. Like, what the fuck are they worried about reselling or some shit? Like, Jesus. Get the fuck out of there, dude. I've never taken so long to get a fucking Transformer figure out. I've never taken so long to get a Transformer off. Oh, what the fuck is even going on here? This is the worst ever. What the fuck is this? This is why Fable doesn't buy G2 figures. This should not be this hard, y'all. Get the fuck out of there. Okay, there we go. Jesus. Fuck that. What? This is what's holding this shit in. Like rope. Like, what the fuck? All right. Ugh. G2 Conehead. Really dope figure. It's kind of like appropriate. Like, it seems like Sandstorm. It looks like his mold a little bit. Recolored with that 90s deco. There is Cloud Seeker. Yeah, that was worth it. I should have opened that fucking beforehand. Dope figure though. I don't know if they ever made this one. Maybe it was just a concept thing. I don't know. I don't remember Cloud Seeker. But like I said, if they keep doing Seekers, I'm gonna buy them. Love y'all. Y'all have a good one. We're out. That was way too difficult. Thank you for bearing with me. Station.